Sconce, Kyle. Sconce. What's the cheer you're supposed to say? It's like you see Beauty the Beast.
Slunch is what you're supposed to fucking say.
Let's go ahead. Let's bust this beer open. Let's go ahead. Let's start drinking. We need to start immediately.
Well, yeah,
immediately.
That's what we're fucking doing.
We're doing the episode for it. We have people who ask us in our comments, "Are we furries?" And with thumbnails like this, I feel like
we're gonna dig in that hole ourselves, isn't we?
Yeah, that's your character, and then that's we haven't used Porg in anything yet.
We haven't used Potty in anything yet.
No, we haven't used Patty. He is like, we're not even going to do like Rancho San Francisco until like an actual
LA.
year.
Yeah, no,
like,
it's gonna be a minute before we're over there.
Like 2027 is when that character's going to get used.
Yes, it's gonna, which is sad because as a concept, I fucking love Patrick. So
yes, you got a year to run Miami by Night, and then however long Rich Underground goes on for. And then we'll eventually get to Cyberpunk content. And I still do want to run Bluebeard's Bride. I think that game actually does have intelligent game design in it. So we're going over to Fianna.
I've never heard of it myself, but I know
it's a game that requires no dice. It's all roleplay.
Oh, okay. I might actually be good at that.
And it's got like this whole like feminist message to it, but like the feminist message is more like played for horror. It's not really like on the nose with its politics, even though it is a political game by nature.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going into the Fianna. We will never call these guys the Heart Wardens. That is a dumb name.
I will find whoever it was in the boardroom that came up with the Heart Wardens, and I will walk the book up and cram it down his fucking throat.
That was Kareem Umar who did that, because people were saying, you got rid of the Native American tribes because you hate Native Americans. You got rid of the Actina, and you got rid of the Wendigo, and you got rid of the Fenris. So shouldn't you get rid of the Fianna as well, you hypocrite? And he said, you know what? You're right. I should get rid of the Fianna. No, that's not what we're asking for.
Why the fuck would he do this? It's my favorite fucking tribe. It's the greatest fucking tribe in all the Garou, and he fucking gets rid of it. What a fucking
apparently just being Irish is racist according to the left.
Fucking everything's racist according to
that's just the thing. You see, you're not allowed to enjoy anything. You can't be happy. That's the whole thing.
I fucking hate it.
You will own nothing and you won't be happy. Is what the actual motto is.
Oh, yeah, but they left that part out. They lied about that.
We try not to be right-leaning, but it just comes out that way.
Yeah,
we try.
Basically.
Yes. Kyle, you watch Kill Tony. You saw Klaus Schwab Jr. and his whole set.
Kill Tony?
Yeah. You don't watch that show, do you?
No, I do not.
No, because you don't keep up with Chud Rogan anymore.
No, I tend not to keep up with anything because, I figured I'm just going to go to work one day and then come home and there's going to be nukes.
There's going to be nukes. And we got Chud Rogan, where he's now become the mainstream instead of an actual fun show to watch anymore.
Yeah, that's what happens over time.
The show has sucked for the past 3 months. You know who doesn't suck? Red Bar.
Who the fuck is that?
Well, you remember that video I sent you of the DuckTales theme song that got defaced? And it had all the different like black caricatures put over it. That's him.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. It was a whole thing where it's a podcast that will never get a deal. It will never get a Hurt Radio signing, but it's entertaining as hell.
I mean, that's how it always goes with media.
He gave $400 to Mersh, and Mersh described it as life-changing money, being given $400. A life-changing $400, Kyle.
Jesus.
All right, let's get into it. So the Fianna, who are these guys in concept?
So, the Fianna are werewolves that hail from the Emerald Isle. A very long time ago.
Ireland.
Yes. Yeah. So, very long time ago, they claim themselves to have been the second ever tribe ever.
Yes, that's what they say. Now, I do think we kind of beg to differ with that, because this is pretty far back in the World Darkness timeline. This is... the Antediluvians are still being sired by this point. Now, if we're going to check that fact, the Silverfangs were the first ones to ever form because the Silverfang progenitor did the miracle where he managed to fight back the Beast of War, and with that, he died in the fight, and then Death itself came out and awarded him with the Secret of Death, where it turns out that whole secret is death is not the end, and that's ultimately what that means. So, guess what? The Sunstriders also know that secret. They just accept it as a fact of life, don't really herald it as some sort of big secret, because it's not. And then the Sorfangs came back and then held that achievement over the heads of everybody for years and years, even though the Sorfangs haven't really accomplished anything as a tribe since that time. They really are just the baby boomer tribe, where they just say, I bought this house for $44,000.
I bought this house for a bushel of corn and a handshake.
And then they look at you like they expect you to kowtow to their financial wisdom and foresight. When if you actually were that smart, you would have bought 10 houses at that price. Your property values will have tripled by this time.
Well, they already did, and now they're selling them for quite literally 150% of the price.
They're not selling anything. You want to buy a house in Mooresville, Kyle? It's impossible because none of the boomers are selling those houses.
All right, we're talking about boomers instead.
They're holding on to them until the day they die. I wouldn't mind having a beach house. I can't afford that shit, but I'd like to have it.
Yeah, me too.
But the Fianna said that they were the second tribe, and I think the Wendigo beat them to this, in all honesty.
Yeah,
I think the Wendigo formed first.
They splintered off from the Silver Fangs, crossed the land bridge, and then found their way into America after Yeti sacrificed himself to stop the
And they were already established people in Russia during that time, too.
That's true.
The Shadow Lords were second fiddle until they got Crow, and even then they weren't really the Shadow Lords until Grandfather Thunder materialized. Fenrir was not born yet. The Black Furies weren't a thing because Medusa was yet to be discovered. Children of Gaia were very late. Glassworkers were very, very, very late. Red Talons didn't even form until post-Impergium. So, yeah, I think the Fianna are close to being one of the first tribes to form, but I'm suspect
like
about them.
Third or fourth behind either the Wendigo or the Shadow Lords.
And then there's a whole question about whether or not Clytol was born yet or not. But we go into this with the early times. What the Fianna did is that it just so happened that in the Middle East there were fae. There were fairies in the Middle East.
Yes,
you don't really get that many fairy tales in the Middle East until I remembered Tales of Genies, the 101 1001 Arabian Nights, Kyle.
Yes, the issue in particular.
And we had an entire game in the server, Rage Coast Egypt, where we focused it about genies, and that was a dream game. I was very happy I got to finish that game. By the way, Kyle, to briefly interrupt in history, go into the server, into the channel labeled "Pictures with or without AI."
Okay, let's see what we got.
Yeah. Archie left us something in there.
Oh, did he?
It's that little pin pin line art picture in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Put that up on the screen for a minute. Yeah. So that was the Rage Coast Egypt party, by the way. And there's Faster Than Sound in the corner, who was not part of the game, but that's Archie. Archie likes drawing him, which is why he's here. So that's Archie's character off to the side, by the way, who, over the course of the game, fell from 5 stories in height, had half of his face vaporized, both of his arms ripped off at the shoulder, and his inside of his body blew open from an assamite.
What
and
he survived all of it. What? How did that happen?
It just so happens that in every game I run, there's at least one character who's the punching bag who receives all the damage. That just happened to be him.
That's funny.
But yeah, Archie, thank you for drawing this. This genuinely did tickle me today.
That's really funny.
Yeah. But going back into it, so you had all these ancient fae in the Middle East, and they said, hey, we don't actually want to live in the Middle East. We want to go to this place called Ireland. They said, Ireland, what's
what the
Ireland?
Fuck is an Ireland? Oh, well, it's an island all the way the fuck over there.
We're going to go over there. I'll see you later. And then they just dipped.
Yep.
And then the Fianna thought to themselves, well, we got to go. And so they all packed up, left the Surfangs, and just did this massive, perilous trek across the Mediterranean, across the European continent, across the English Channel, until they finally got to the land of Albion, or Arcadia, if you're a big fan of Vampire the Masquerade.
Arcadia, Vampire the Masquerade? Are you sure you don't mean Changeling?
No, that's what Mithras calls England.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because when you're Mithras, you can get away with that kind of stuff.
True.
And they got over here, and they said, hey, this place is pretty cool. Hey, Faye, where are you at? And then they popped up and said, here we are. We are those who are eternal. We are the Tuatha De Danann. We are Danu's direct kids. And they said, cool. And so you get a little compromise with second edition where how the Fianna started as a bloodline is that the Fianna started because they learned how to howl. They were the first creatures to figure out that, yes, a wolf can howl. And they cite that as the moment the Fianna formed in concept. The Fianna formed in blood because there was a Fianna man who was singing, and Danu got so turned on by his voice that she said, "We need to fuck immediately," and so they did.
So it was.
And then Danu suddenly dips the night after, and he's thinking, "Oh, it was a one-night stand, fine, whatever." And the wolf is all sad. And then, like 10 years later, Danu comes back with 2 kids. Both of them are werewolf kids. And she said, "Hey, I didn't think you'd be that interested in raising babies and little kids, so I raised these 2 kids. I keep one, you keep the other, and that's going to be our bloodline."
And then cool, look at that.
And then the Fianna as a bloodline started.
Yes. In ancient Celtic times, it was a Celtic pagan belief that by naming the land, it would give them a sort of power to ward off evil spirits, which is how a lot of the Fae mythology and how the connection between the Fianna and the Faeries came to be, is because of that ancient pagan tradition.
Yeah, they named the land Erin, is what they called it.
Yep.
And the reason why naming was so important in the World of Darkness context is because of true names. They found out that true naming is a thing where every single human and every item and every plant has a little serial code attached to it that is the true name. If you speak that name in front of that object or person, you can do whatever you want to it. Just anything you can think of that will go off. Stag, the main totem of the Fianna, Kyle, he knows true naming. Stag has that power. He can find out the true name of anything by looking at it. Is the whole power.
That's pretty incredible.
Now, you would think he'd be a super strong totem because of that, but true naming is a very dangerous power to use. I mean, you remember when we were going through the Stargazer's book, how there were the name breakers. And those were mages that would very quickly accumulate paradox because they just had no chill with their magic. And they never properly formed as a tradition either. They have no real connection to the Akashic Brotherhood or the Dream Speakers. And with true naming, we find out the hard way what kind of damage that can do. Because in times of judgment, Gehenna, Tremere finds out the true name of the entire human race, and before he can speak it, that's when Zamichi hops into his body and takes over the world.
Oh.
That's how that book ends, by the way.
I assume that's how the Elder then, activates the Supermind virus, absorbs the world, and then God smites him. He was going to just flip the
switch on vicissitude, but then he realized, hey, you got this whole true naming thing. That actually saves me a lot of time. I'll just steal your idea instead.
And so it was.
And vicissitude being in the entire human race just made it easier. But with naming and changing to dreaming, by the way, just to very quickly list off some of this crazy shit you can do with this. At the very first level of naming, whether you understand the language or not, even if the contents are magically locked, it becomes possible to read any text. That's at first level. And that's pretty useful, isn't it? It's anti-Tower of Babel.
Yes.
Rune allows you to start adding properties to items based off of the words you speak to them. Runic Circle is that on the next step up. Seining recalls the ritual of the true name that is used when a Cathane goes through the first chrysalis, showing that user's individual true name. And by that point, you can do whatever the fuck you want with what you know the true name of. And then reweaving, where you go even further and completely rewrite the genetic code, like the spiritual code of who you spoke the true name of. You can just completely rewrite data at that level.
You basically break the laws of thermodynamics, create and destroy matter then.
Because as much as the World of Darkness does have some science behind it, the World of Darkness is ultimately ruled by magic, and it's the technocracy that's trying to turn it from being a magical place into a setting of order and reason, which is where that conflict comes from. So even though some people want to say there's always a scientific explanation for everything, there's always a magic explanation first, then a scientific explanation forms around it. It's the other way around.
Like the old saying goes, if physics is just applied mathematics, but mathematics is applied philosophy.
It is. And while they were in Erin, in the other country that they left behind, Albion, which was the British Isles, there was a group of werewolves that turned out they followed them over and got there first, actually. And while they were setting up camp over there, they found out that there were other tribes and other campfires off in the distance. They walked over to find out what it was, and they found a tribe called the White Howlers.
And so they were like, hey, this is our land. No, it's our land. And so they fought vociferously until they realized, okay, you guys are all the way up there. We're all the way over here. You want a beer?
Hey, wait, man, wait. This is stupid. You're right, dog. Let's put the spears down and let's go about our business.
And so it was.
It was a Garou moment.
It was a Garou moment.
And after that, they chilled out. And they were friends to an extent. Like, the Fianna and White Howlers were both very stubborn tribes. Because the Fianna always wanted to do the whole, no, it's my way. I gotta do it my way kind of tribe. And the Fianna and the White Howlers were also the same way.
Yep.
Because after all, you had the Fianna telling the White Howlers, hey, maybe this isn't a good idea for you to fight the Roman Empire this way. And then the White Howlers just marked red on the message and just went right back to doing what they were doing.
And it didn't go well for them, did it?
But getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes, indeed.
They also take a moment in First Edition to just pause the story and say, if you find a Black Spiral Dancer as a Fianna, kill it. Don't even try to parley with it. Don't listen to a word it has to say. Just immediately kill the Black Spiral. Yep. You're doing the White Howlers a favor in doing so, because you are saving the memory and respect of what used to be their best friends forever.
Yes, dig your claws into its throat and then pull as hard as you possibly can.
So we got the land of Aaron. We've got werewolves over here. We've got Fae around this area too. Everything is pretty good. They also find out there's a third group in this area too called the Verbena. They didn't really know them by that name at the time, but there were these witches in the area that seemed to worship the land itself. And whenever Fianna got sick of them and tried fighting them, they would just turn to like a giant predator monster or some sort of tree monster and then fight the Fianna to a draw. And then the Fianna just said, I don't think these guys are really worth the trouble of fighting. Let's just let them go about their business. We got other shit to deal with.
Yep.
It's the juice was not worth the squeeze with fighting the Verbena.
No, they said, you know what? They're worshiping the land. They're not hurting anything. Fuck it. Let's leave them alone. And
even when the Imperium rolls around, they go after other humans only because, these big alpha wolves are telling us we will be killed if we don't participate in the Imperium. But they go about it, but they leave the Verbena alone, and eventually the Fianna stop for a second and think, wait, why are we doing this again? We're doing this because the big scary wolf is telling us, well, how about we just convince him to not do this? And so they, alongside the Children of Gaia, were the two that went over to the Silver Fangs and said, hey, the Imperium is actually a really bad idea. Can we stop doing it? And with that, they were able to help in the Imperium. Yep. And of course, the Garou Nation would eventually form after that. The Fianna were already established tribes, so they were delegates that went over and helped sign off the laws. The Children of Gaia that formed out from the miracle of the 5 wolves who died and were revived by Gaia herself were there with them. And the two of them basically agreed on everything during the forming of the litany. The Fianna probably should have reread some of those laws because some of those would bite them in the ass way down the line, but when has a werewolf ever planned for long term?
They don't, which is why we have totems in the first place.
And speaking of which, the Imperium following that would be the War of Rage, where the Fianna once again, they did it at first only to realize that this was also a really stupid idea.
Yep.
And they said, oh, the poor Bastet, we killed them all. We killed all the Bastet. There are no more Bastet alive.
Do you mean the, who am I thinking of? Goodness gracious, the bears.
The girl?
Yeah, about the girl who are actually their best friends.
And then the Fianna look over at India and look at Bagheera and say, no, that's not a real Bastet. No, it's an apparition. It doesn't exist. It's not real.
And so
there are no Bagheera. There are no Balam. There are no Pamunka. There are no Kwame.
They basically lied and just said, oh, no, those are just Puka. Don't worry about them.
They also mentioned were-otters in Revised, where I'm pretty sure those were just Puka too.
More than likely, yeah. The Puka were like, hey, those werewolves are being dumb. Let's go fuck with them.
You got Schmeckeldorfed into believing there was an entire changing breed, and it was never real.
Yep. I mean, the Puka are really good at that. That's their whole thing.
You got pranked. You schmuck.
Again, that's their job.
Let's see. Where's the soundboard? Where's the air horn? There it is. Pranked.
We didn't have story here. We had to do what we could with what we got.
You also got a little note in First Edition too, where they said during this time too, they began to realize that written text was important.
Yes.
And how they learned to read from the verbena. They found out that the true, well, you had naming with the true Fae. The Fae were, of course, the Fae and never had a consistent alphabet. The verbena did. So they learned how to start writing in text from the verbena. And along with it, they were also taught a secret language by the Fae, which I don't think really has a written form. It's all tongues. And This is basically like D&D Thieves' Cant, where you say one thing and it means another.
Yep.
And this is how the Fianna keep their deep secrets amongst each other with its secret language. You also had Stag going around this time, and the Fianna have a practice. You have your birth name, you have your deed name, and then you have your secret name, where Stag just walks up to you and says, hey, just in case anyone tries to do a prank on you or trick you about your true name, this is what your true name actually is. I can tell what it is. Now, don't tell anybody that that's your true name. Because if you do tell somebody that, they will get full dominion over you. But if somebody says, hey, I have your true name, say my true name, and that's not what I just said, then you're fine.
Yeah, it's like, I believe we went over this actually briefly when we were doing D&D, where fairies do have the ability to steal names, which is probably why that practice became so important in the first place.
Which is why the fairy call center is such a deadly thing.
Yes.
It's, hello, so-and-so services. Am I speaking to Kyle?
No, you're talking to Tyler.
Okay, thank you. And they just hang up the phone and steal your name.
Yep.
If fairies just embraced a little bit of banality, they'd make so much more progress.
I mean, yeah, but that kind of also, that, as we said, banality stacks
This
up over time.
is why the knockers are geniuses.
It's very hard to get rid of it.
And along with it, too, while they were chilling out after the War of Rage, as it turns out, the Korax survived. I look over and say, hey, what's the deal with you? And they said, hey, we were coming to make a little peace offering. The War of Rage just happened. Please don't kill us. And they said, oh, no, we're not going to do that. No, we were never really on board with that to begin with. And then the Korax became their other best friend.
Yep.
Cool.
I love the birds. I love the silly birds. They're my best friend.
There's nobody in World Darkness that has anything bad to say about the Korax.
I mean, I don't know. I think maybe the Macaulay, maybe the Naga, but I think
well, they called him a snitch.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's part of their litany. I mean, you can't really get
that's
around
part of their
that.
laws. They have to tell you the truth if you ask for it.
Again, there's a reason that Bree-book Korax is one of my favorites in the World of Darkness. It's because the Korax are awesome and I love them.
And everything's been going pretty good so far. Well, things went really wrong. And what happened is that you had the Defiler Worm, who looks over at the land of Ireland and says, oh, look, what clever Garou. See them study, watch them learn. How I hate those goody-goodies. How they make my stomach turn. And she releases the Fomorians upon them.
Yes.
Not the little bullshit Fomori that you see in Freak Legion. The actual Fomorians is what was released. We went over these before, briefly. Primal fears of humanity made manifest.
Just ambling amorphous masses of just horrendous shit hobbling towards people to haunt them and kill them.
The personified fear of darkness, the fear of fire, the fear of starvation, the fear of hungry animals. Those become manifest and start killing everything they come across. For whatever reason, that's not really specified, the Defiler Worm just really hates the Fianna. For whatever reason.
That's just because, we're all happy-dappy sons of bitches, and we like having fun and giving life and names to things.
Is that the Fomorians were released, and the Tuatha De Danann had to come in and save the Garou nation because the Fianna were about to die. They had no idea what they were up against. They weren't fighting an enemy from day one, like the Silverfangs, or the Shallow Lords, or the Gavfinris. The Fianna were still pretty green behind the ear, so this was their first big fight, and it almost killed them all. And because of that, the Fianna have a lot of superstitions because of that. This was the period where they almost died. So anything that resembles the Fomorians in thought, word, or appearance is bad mojo to them. This extends to their metis. Because what do a lot of the servants of the worm look like? Physically deformed, mentally insane. So if you are either of those two things, the Fianna really don't like you.
Yes.
Which is why even though they are the tribe that does produce the most metis, they hate metis and treat them like shit.
I would have thought it was
because
the
they
Bonars
assume
that do. The Bonars are the children of Gaia, but we're not quite there yet.
Fianna will just gladly dump their kid off on the children of Gaia or the Bonars and then just be done with it. They are the tribe that produces the most absentee fathers of all of them.
Yeah, a real great reputation we got here, eh, fellas?
Exactly. There is you can get on the Fianna for being ableist, like actually having a whole like supremacy complex when it comes to the physical disabilities and mental illnesses. And a lot of them for being like superstitious granddads, where these are people that would freak out if they saw you pick up a penny tails up on the street.
Yes.
Or if you they would perform a whole rite of cleansing on you if you walked down a sidewalk that a black cat just walked out in front of.
That's actually Anglo propaganda. When I went to Ireland, they actually informed me that black cats are good luck, actually.
Or if you walk under a ladder, or if you break a mirror.
Yes. Or you spill salt, you have to throw it over your shoulder.
That's the kind of superstitions that they have.
I do actually throw salt over my shoulder, I will say.
The whole Stevie Wonder song, the 13-month-old baby, the seventh son of a family, they take that shit very seriously.
Yes.
And with the Defiler Worm releasing the Fomorians, there was no Fomorian that was deadlier than Baylor of the Evil Eye, who we went over in our Unseelie Court episode. But in case you didn't see that, that was a giant man with a single eye, where if he just looked at you with the eye, you didn't even need to look at him, he just had to look at you. You died. It was that easy. And this man would just walk into the middle of Fianna Cairns and just open his eye, and then everyone died. It was that easy. And from the looks of things, the Fianna were about to die out. Though they say it wasn't the Whitehunters that saved them, it was the Korax that saved them. Kyle, what's the meme of the man holding the dog and he had the sad cat?
Oh, yeah, I know the one where it's basically like the Fianna are holding the Korax and the White Howlers are just crying there on the side.
Yeah, that really is just what the meme is. Let me go. Let me send this to you.
I mean, it's kind of hard because like
apparently the image file is bigger than 10 megabytes. Why is the meme template that big?
I don't know. I can put it up, I guess. Let me see.
Nah, I'm gonna beat you to it. I gotta get. We got to the joke before the joke wears out.
Well, no.
There it is.
Oh, yeah,
there it is. The hold.
Yes, and so it is. This one right here.
And so they're crediting the Korax saying, "Thank you, Korax, for saving our lives. If it wasn't for you and your intel, we all would have died." And the White Howlers were saying, "Dude, we came in with our spears and we saved your asses from being killed by the Fomorians. Where's our respect?" And around this time, the king of the Tuatha De Danann, the fairies, was Nuada, who, according to our Celtic mythology, was a god of war, so to speak. He's got a very feminine name, which is why he's a woman in D&D, but not, it's a dude. And he was the king of the fairies until he lost an arm, and then the fairies said, "He's asymmetrical. He can't be king." That level of superstition. So they made a guy called, he's got a silly-ass name, Breas, as the king instead. However, Breas was actually the biological son of Baylor, who proceeded to run the entire Tuatha De Danann into the ground. Until Nuada came back with an entire cyborg arm made out of silver and chased Breas out, only for Breas to immediately rendezvous with Baylor and begin what would be the final assault, called the Second Battle of Moytura. What did the first battle look like? Well, it's not in the book, so I guess it's not that important now, is it?
Yes.
But after this massive battle, they summon a guy to help. Baylor summons a guy called Crom Curak. Where I looked this guy up, he is the Celtic god of child sacrifice. Amazing.
Yes.
He's very much like Baal, isn't he?
Yeah, I'd say quite a bit with, all the human sacrifice.
And they have a massive battle. Nuada and Crom get a mutual kill with each other. Nuada is the last to bleed out, so his soul is secure. He doesn't fall into Malpheus. And then it looks like Baylor is about to kill them all, only for a guy called Lou to suddenly just pop out of the grass. And to their surprise, he's the grandson of Baylor. And he takes the Gale Bolg, a lightning spear, and sends it into Baylor's eye, plucks it out, kills him, and then purifies the eyeball and keeps it as a trophy. And then the entire Fomorian army falls apart without the leadership of Baelor. House Baelor would then form, but they are a shell of what they used to be.
Yep.
And then
the Crum
those who
Karaf
are
was
eternal
destroyed in that fight.
They seal the Fomorians behind a giant barrier into dreaming, and we don't have to worry about them anymore. And then the end, problem solved, right?
Oh no, the worm's gonna come back.
Except that it turns out those who were eternal had to go. They said, sorry, we got business to do into dreaming, now that this war happened, we got a dip. We're going to leave you with this little poem. Though we are both spirits of the wild, the changelings and the changing breeds, our alliance, our friendship will never change. We will ever regard you as our cousins and never treat you differently. The bond of blood between us will remain as eternal and constant as the land, so long as our stories are told. And that is the promise they make. And if a fairy makes a promise to you, they intend to keep it. However, there's one important detail to make. That promise that the Fianna made was with the Seelie court, not the Unseelie court. Right. We're going to fast forward a little bit in the story. You want to know why relationships between the Fianna and the changelings partially fell apart?
It's because of the Unseelie court.
Yes, exactly. What was going on is that, to kind of like fast forwarding a little bit, this doesn't happen immediately after this. We still have like a whole like White Howler subplot to get through, but fast forwarding a little bit. During the events of the Sundering, when it became harder and harder and harder for you to be a changeling, something that, to their credit, JoJo and Metro helped me figure this out. If you have Purebreed as a background in Werewolf the Apocalypse, it increases your chances of mating and making another changing breed. If you don't have that, there's like a 95% chance you're going to make just kinfolk, and that's it. So, Kyle, in case you're wondering why having Purebreed is a big fucking deal to the Silverfangs, that's why.
That's a direct connection there.
It is. And with the Fianna, this was back when the Fianna were starting to really struggle with the Get Ephemeris and the Silverfangs, but we're getting ahead of ourselves with that. What the Unseelie Court were doing is that before one of their kin could have a first change, they would put a phase spirit in them. Instead of having a first change, you'd go through Chrysalis instead.
Yep, and so come out as a fairy on the other side.
They just politely said to them, can you stop doing that with our kinfolk? The Unseelie Court responded with, well, if that's the way it's going to be, then we can stop doing business together altogether then. And that was the attitude. And that there went all support from the Unseelie Court. They immediately pulled back, which means anytime you see a fairy working with a Fianna in any of her games that is a Seelie Court fairy, the Unseelie fairies tell the Fianna get fucked because they never made the promise, and the entire premise of the Unseelie Court is spitting on traditions and doing whatever you feel like because you don't give a damn about anything besides yourselves.
Oh, sounds like most modern Hollywood writers.
That's what it boils down to. You know, these apprentices are in place for a good reason.
Yep. I believe as the poet G.K. Chesterton once remarked, before you tear down a fence, understand the purpose of the fence.
Mm-hmm. Would you remove a wall to get one step closer to the devil?
Yes.
And
anyhow,
you have the White Howlers.
Yes.
Where we went through the whole story with the White Howlers last week is that to very fast forward it and make sure you actually watch the Black Spell Dancer video. The White Howlers are fighting the Roman Empire, and the White Howlers look at the Fianna saying, well, what are you looking so sad about? Aren't you going to be with your friends, the Korax? And the Fianna saying, no, we want you to be our friends. Oh, you're only telling us that because the fairies are gone. Well, yeah. You want to be friends? And the Fianna wrapped their arms around the White Howlers. The White Howlers roll their eyes and put one arm around the Fianna. Okay, fine, we'll be friends. And then what their friendship entails is that when the Roman Empire comes around and the Picts are just running directly into combat with no armor, flailing their weapons, intentionally accumulating 10 points of temporary rage and losing their shit in combat, the Fianna say, hey, maybe that's not working. Would you like to take some of our advice? They tell them to get fucked and that they know better than the Fianna.
Yes.
Because after all, the reputation of the White Howlers was, we're Gaia's chosen people. We're the ones who are going around finding worm-infested cairns and freeing them. So they have a bit of a superiority complex going on.
They do. And that is while they're also being invaded from the north by the Get Ephemeris and having their kinfolk forcibly taken from them by the basically proto-Camarilla that joined the Roman invasion. And from the Fomorians as well.
Speaking of the Camarilla, the two clans that the Fianna were having to fight were the Malkavians and the Ventrue. They found out what a vampire was the hard way. Because, Kyle, what is the weakness of a changeling?
The weakness of a changeling is banality.
Cold iron.
Yes.
So they're running in with sticks made out of cold iron, and they're smacking a vampire across the head with it, only to find out it does nothing.
Yep.
Nobody told the Fianna what stinking was supposed to be.
Well, how the hell were they supposed to know?
Exactly that. So all their tips and tricks on fighting did nothing to a vampire. So they were having to completely rework this all over again. And while they're thinking, they're in the Umbra trying to find new ways to fight a vampire. They see this dude walking around, and he's got horns come out of his head, and they say, "Who are you?" "I am Hearn." "What do you do?" "I'm the god of hunting." "Would you like to be a totem?" "Yes." And then they take Hearn as their totem, and then he just joins Stag's brood.
Yes.
And with that, the Fianna completely change their tactics. They become ambush predators instead. Where if you look at Fianna gifts, you begin to realize that they really need that because the Fianna are not very good at 1v1 fighting.
No.
That's just not something they have. We went through the whole tier list with werewolves. The Fianna were dead last. They were the only tribe that we ranked with a D.
Yeah, it's a sad thing, isn't it?
It is. Like, objectively, they are the worst tribe mechanically, but
I don't care. I love them anyway, and I'll continue to play them forever.
I continue to use them as NPCs. I don't think there's a single werewolf game, single World Darkness game I've used where I haven't used a Fianna.
Well, that's because we're the best.
And then, of course, the White Hunters jump into the hole to hell for whatever reason you think they do. They come back out as the Black Spirals, and then they immediately get into a war with them. I believe this event is called the First Battle of Tara. I think it's called.
So let me see.
Now, if you're thinking, why is that important? Why does the Battle of Tara matter? Well, it's because with Fianna leadership, they have a High King called the Ardrai, who lives in the Sept of Tara, which is on Silver Tara, which is this little island that's got spiritual value to the Fianna, where they have a little castle set up, and that's where the Fianna HQ is. And the Black Spiral Dancers immediately make a beeline for Tara, and they have this massive war where the Fianna are trying to catch up to the Black Spirals after they ran right past enemy lines, and by the skin of their teeth are able to stop and push back the Black Spirals. And while this absolute shit show is going on, the one woman called Boudica rises up. She was she was with the White Howlers, but when the White Howlers fell, she joined up with the Fianna. And she did her best to fight back. Whether or not she was a werewolf or whether or not she was kinfolk is kind of up in the air.
Yes.
And she did her best until she died.
Well, I mean, in the first edition book, it says that she experienced her first change and became Fianna.
Oh, she is?
Yes.
Okay, good. And after she dies, then the Silverfangs get involved. The Silverfangs step in and say, "We are House Winter Snow, and we hear that there's an absolute shit show going on here from Falcon. We'll be taking over this operation, if you don't mind." They come in with two tribes, the Gedefenris and the Black Furies, of all things. Now, the Gedefenris just makes sense because anytime there's a fight, the Gedefenris are present.
Yes.
But why the Black Furies? Because they heard that there was a warrior woman that was in this area, and they came here to honor her memory and see her job done.
Well, that actually makes sense. Meanwhile, the Gedefenris just continued to pillage and take everything for themselves.
And the Fianna look over at House Winter Snow and say, "Hey, cool, we finally got reinforcements. Can we help?" And then the Silverfangs just reply, "You can help us by sitting back and watching us do the job for you. We don't need your help, darling." And the Fianna look at that. "Okay, well, fine then. We're going to help anyway. We got this whole Hearn guy that we learned tactics from. We're going to help you with the Brotherhood of Hearn." But then every other tribe, every other camp in the Fianna gets benched during this time. Now, they try making nice with the other two tribes. The Gedefenris, they look over, "Hey, let's introduce ourselves. We're the Fianna." The Gedefenris just respond by turning around. You know that whole cartoon effect where you get punched in the face and that leaves the indention of the fist?
Basically.
That was their interaction with the Get.
"Hey, would you like a beer, crack?"
And then they try going over to the Black Furies, and apparently they just ink out the Black Furies so badly that the Black Furies want nothing to do with them. And they get the idea, well, let's repay the favor of the Black Furies by moon bridging over to Greece and helping them out with whatever they got in Greece. And then they moon bridge over. The Black Furies really don't take it well and almost cut the heads off the Fianna that moon bridged over.
We literally just wanted to help.
And after the fight against the Roman Empire is done, the Black Spiral Dancers are seemingly killed off. And the Fianna just assume they're all gone. The Black Furies dip now that the job is done. But the Gethsemane stick around. They walk right into the White Howard cairns, make them their own, and then walk over to some Fianna cairns, pick up the Fianna, and throw them out of their houses. And the Fianna look over and say, "What the fuck? What do you think you're doing?" The Gethsemane say, "You suck. You don't deserve this cairn. It's our cairn now." But where were you? We were the ones that are fighting. We were the ones that lost all this stuff, and we fought against the Black Spell Dancers, and they used to be the White Howlers. And the Gethsemane reply, "If we were here instead of you, the White Howlers wouldn't have fallen to the worm, now would they?" And then they slammed the door in the Fianna's face. And then thus leads to a small war between the Fianna and the Gethsemane that results in the Fianna getting their asses handed to them fight after fight after fight by the Gethsemane that they can't even come close to competing with. They finally go over to the Surfings and say, "Hey, can you do something about this? Why should we do anything about that? What have you done for the Garou Nation lately?" The Garou Nation, "Oh, that's right, there's a whole Garou Nation that we haven't really been doing anything with." "Yes, you haven't been doing anything with the Garou Nation. The Gethsemane have been invaluable allies in the fight against the worm and the fight for Gaia. We don't remember you doing anything."
Wait a minute,
so why
didn't
should
you
we help
specifically
you?
tell us to hang back while you did all this, and we did it anyway, and then you failed to acknowledge the fact that we did anything?
Yeah, because you didn't really do anything now, did you?
But we still, we're doing stuff. You just failed to acknowledge when we were doing stuff. This is our home. We live here.
And then the Fianna just heave a sigh and say, "Fine, we will give you 100% of our kinfolk. We'll let you pick and choose whatever kinfolk you want from us if you help us." The Surfing say, "Say no more, darling. What do you need?" That's how you do it. But keep in mind, the whole pure breed thing, 3 thing, the Surfings only pick the fairest and strongest of all the kin to mate with. And after they take their pick, they go over, they fight the Gethsemane, and you have the Fianna and the Surfangs versus the Gethsemane in a small region. And they find them all the way back to Scotland. And after they get to Scotland, the Surfangs just drop the sword, turn around. The Fianna say, "What are you doing? We're not done yet." "Oh, no, we're done, darling. We did what we need to." "No, we still have a fight to do." No. You said we were going to fight until you got your cairns back. You've gotten your cairns back now. Job is done. And then they just refuse to help the Fianna after that.
Well, we just keep getting fucked over through all of history, don't we?
Yeah, war over. And during this time, the Fianna are thinking, all right, the Fae are gone. The White Howlers are gone. We still have the Korax and we love the Korax. But there's a hole in our heart that's missing. As much as these guys are hoity-toity assholes, let's try to be nice to the Surfangs. And they try to fill in the hole in their hearts that was left behind by the Fae and the White Howlers with the Surfangs. They try adopting their mannerisms. They try getting involved in this high society shit. They dress up in nicer clothes. They go to these wine and dine parties. And the Fianna begin to earn their way in the keep of the Garou Nation by being 2 things. First one, the party guys. If you need a moot done, if you need Galliards, the Fianna are the guys you hit up for that. As it turns out, the Fianna were very good at song, very good at dance, and managed to make the Surfangs finally crack a smile for once in their lives. Funny Irishmen, funny Irishmen. Thank you so much for your performance.
We became the King's Council, so to speak. We became a jester.
And the second thing, historians. As it turns out, because the Fianna were literate, when the Surfings at this time probably weren't, the Fianna said, "Hey, if you're not going to let us fight, can we do some paperwork for you instead?" "Oh, yes, here's our unsorted records," as they just proceed to pour out all these different random scrolls and relics and tidbits into the Fianna's lap. The Fianna piece together what is supposed to be what the true name of these items are supposed to be, and then they finally managed to write and record and organize Garou Nation history. And they pass it over to the Surfangs, and Surfangs look at, "Oh, you actually made sense of all of this. We now have a proper timeline." "Well, thank you, Fianna." And they roll it up and they proceed to pass it around. So it's It was they who solved the enigmas before the Stargazers did. Granted, the Stargazers made a lot more progress at a lot more time, but the Fianna did a lot for what they had on hand when it came to history and knowledge.
Yep.
It was then that the Fianna went from being less like the drunken. Well, they still were drunken, but they were the smart wolf instead of the warrior wolf during this time. And the Sorfangs treated them as if they were basically an entire tribe of assistants by this point. It's, oh, thank you. Fianna, if you could pass me my wine. Fianna, if you could keep my schedule for me. Fianna, if you could prepare my bath for me. That was the whole relationship they had with the Fianna. And the Fianna just sucked it up, had to deal with what they had on hand. We'll eventually get around somewhere with these guys. And of course, you had all this different middle-aged shit going on. You had Henry VIII. Oh, I'm Henry VIII. I am. And the whole song. And then he comes in. He says, "I'm going to create my own church with divorce in it." And then he splits off from the Catholic Church. Tells the Catholic Church to get fucked. He forms his own church. He divorces his wife. He has a bastard daughter. He never has a son. And then with that, about 2 days before he comes over to Ireland, the Fianna look at themselves and say, "Look, we're never going to come around to how we used to be. The Fae are gone. The shattering has happened. We're not going to get anywhere close to where we used to be. We have to go along with what the Surfangs say." And there's a small civil dispute between the Fianna during this time, but the Fianna that want to kiss up to the Surfangs paved the way for Henry VIII to come in and take over Ireland.
Well, the only problem with that is that eventually, after Henry VIII founded the Church of England, then came Cromwell as his new minister. And, we all know what a fucking great guy Oliver Cromwell was.
Yeah, to fast forward, the English conquered Scotland. The Scotsmans rebelled and got independence. Wales fell to England, but then the new King of England was of Welsh blood. And then Ireland rebelled, became independent, only to fall right back to England. And then they started saying, "We hate Catholicism and want to become Protestant. We don't want to become Protestant. We want to stay Catholic. But you got to be Protestant." No. And you have Elizabeth I trying to stamp out Catholicism by herself in Emerald Isle. James I of England decides to settle matters by sending English and Scottish Protestants to Ulster. There's a whole debate between the two. There's a bunch of Fianna that are Protestant that start debating with the Catholic Fianna. And you might be thinking, well, why are the Fianna playing with this to begin with? Well, the Fianna that are Protestant never believed in Protestants shit to begin with. They were just doing this to appease the Surfangs. The Catholic Fianna all of a sudden realized that because they're losing more and more and more of their identity, that Catholicism might be the one thing they have left. They look at the Surfangs and saying, "Please, let us have this. We've got nothing left in our culture. Let us stay Catholic." And the Surfangs say no. And so they respond, while this whole debate's going on, the Catholics behead the Protestants. And then you see where that ends up. You get Oliver Cromwell, who comes in to handle the civil dispute, who then goes around and finds anyone who's Catholic, puts them on a pike, massacres thousands, lets you starve to death, burns you to death in your home, steals your money, locks you away in prison, and ends up setting up the complete fall of the Fianna in Ireland. The Fianna then storm into the building of House Winter Snow and say, "What the fuck were you thinking bringing this guy in? Do you not understand how much worm taint he reeks of? What's going on here?" The Fianna finally do what they should have done like 400 years ago and cast Sense Worm. And then they realize, not only has House Winter Snow been of the worm, they've been of the worm for centuries by this point. Yep. And what happens? The Fianna fight the Surfangs. And this is how you know these guys were wormish. There were no Surfang reinforcements to come in to save House Winter Snow. That's how you know.
Yep.
And they get a massive fight with them. House Winter Snow dies, but the Fianna just dropped their swords at the end of the battle and realized that was for nothing. Even though they killed House Winter Snow, Oliver Cromwell still won. England is going to take over Ireland. Nothing they did mattered. And the same thing that happened with the White Howlers, the Fianna just have a moment where they just sit down and realize it's over. There's nothing we can do. We recognize the pattern. We're seeing things for long term. We're the smart wolf. We're going to lose everything eventually. And there's nothing we can really do to stop that without piercing the veil, and we're going to die if we do that. And then the Fianna just realize there's only one option we have here. We saw what happened with Whitehunters. We're not doing that. We're not even coming close to doing that. The only thing we have left is holding on. We have 3 things that are ours, as our loss, our sadness, and our grief. That's all we have left to hold on to. And we're just going to hope that one day things will eventually turn around for us. And that is their history for the next 300 years.
And they eventually went to Ireland. Some of them got sent to Australia as, punishment by transportation. And they started to spread out wherever they could in order to gain footholds everywhere else. As they arrived in... What's up?
The actual Surfings came into contact with the Fianna after that happened. However, instead of House Winter Snow, the house they were talking to was House Austere Howl, who comes in and they look over to Fianna. What have you done for us lately? Well, we recorded all of werewolf history, and then the Austere Howl looks at them and says, the same werewolf history that you gave to House Winter Snow, the Wormish Surfangs, that have given that information over to the Black Spiral Dancers and the other Fomorians history. And they found like themselves, oh, you're actually right about that. And the Surfangs just stared at them for a second. You're going to stand next to the Bonars in our pecking order. To put it in perspective, Kyle, the Black Furies rise in status only because the Fianna dropped down to the second lowest tribe in the Garou Nation.
Exactly.
And then what happens after that? Well, the Gavivers come back, and then the Bonars come in, and the Fianna are just disgraced that they're having to rub shoulders with the Bonars now. And then the Glassworkers run in and say, ooh, England, center of the world, England. Let's check out all this stuff. And the Glassworkers just run in and just completely disrespect all the different traditions because the Glassworkers are those kind of intellects.
Yes.
The kind that you can't stand to be around.
They had to be so smart and so fucking right about everything. And what does that lead them? To Weaver corruption.
And they're sitting over here thinking that everything sucks, but we just gotta keep holding on. Eventually life will try to improve. And then eventually the new world opens up. Right? Look over at America. Some Fianna have already left by this point. Back when America first gets founded, some Fianna do go over and help set up in 1776. But it's the potato famine that really is the breaking point. We have a famine in 1845, and then 1846, and then 1848, and 1851. Okay, 4th time's the charm. We're not sticking around with this shit anymore. We've got to do something about this. Those that we can feed in Ireland can stay in Ireland. Those that can't, you gotta go to America. You can't stay here anymore. They go over to America, and they go over to Boston and New York, and they look around and say, wow, this is awesome. Hey, let's try doing something for ourselves here. The American Surfangs, I think it is House Wormfoe during this time.
Yes.
Looks over at them and says, no, you're not doing that. You're staying next to the Bonars again. Go be poor with the Bonars. And the Fianna are thinking, well, we thought we were about to escape, but it turns out life fucking sucks all over again. But then it turns out, no, it doesn't suck. Because as it turns out, the Children of Gaia, the Bonars, and the Black Furies are nicer in America. The Bonars are looking over at the Fianna and saying, what are you doing spending this much money? Here, we're going to teach you what couponing is. We're going to teach you how to poverty max. The Children of Gaia say, look, man, if you need any sort of help, if you need any sort of support network, we got you covered. The Black Furies say, what are you doing with your kids like this? Here's all the mom tactics. Here's how to be a good husband. We're going to teach you how to raise your kids right. And the Fianna look around, and the Fianna think to themselves, did we actually just find a place where we belong? Is this what we've been looking for the entire time?
We had to take over a couple of, ancient fucking Croatan, steps to get there, but, we'll take what victories we got.
Yeah, the Fianna will like to gently sweep under the rug that the cairns that they have used to belong to the Croatan and Wendigo.
I mean, nobody was using it. It's better than we hold it than the worm.
They would greatly appreciate if you did not bring that up.
Look, do you want us to hold it, or do you want the Ephemeris to hold it?
And in America, the Fianna start doing okay for themselves. They start spreading out. There's also a little tidbit in here about the Irish Mafia, where because the glassworkers pissed off the Fianna that badly in Ireland and England, they see the glassworkers going over and having Gabagool Tuesdays with the Giovanni. And the Fianna say, oh, no, you don't. Oh, no, you don't. They formed the Irish Mafia just to compete with and spite the glassworkers.
Absolutely. As they should.
And, of course, you have the rest of history, because we have 1914, the World War I arc. Now,
Not
before
only
this
that,
happened,
it was also the bombing of Dublin as well.
Yeah. Before that happened, you had the Irish saying, we want to be independent. And England's like, no, you can't be independent. And they start going back and forth. They said, we have a law here called the Irish Home Rule Bill that says you can't have shit and you get to bear bitches forever. To brutally paraphrase the bill.
Yep.
And then right before a civil war can break out because of that bill, World War I happens. And the Fianna wait a whole 2 years before they start rising up in Dublin. They take over a post office, and the British respond by blowing it up for a week.
Yep.
And then the British are thinking, okay, now that's over with. We can get back to the task at hand. Only no, a bunch of guerrilla warfare starts happening in Ireland until 1922. British Parliament finally says, fine, have your land. Just have this little piece of Ireland for yourself. We're going to split this land in half. Just quit bombing our cars.
Yep.
And then it still wasn't good enough because they still do it.
Well, yeah, because, North Ireland still belonged to England because they were, largely Protestant.
Go ahead, call the British. They can't unbomb your car.
Basically, yeah.
And while this is going on, back over to America, World War I doesn't really do much, and then the Great Depression happens. And while the glassworkers are jumping out of their office buildings to their deaths, they splat on the street. And then right next to them is a Fianna who's sitting next to a boner saying, oh, he just died. Hey, you got that more of that corn in a can? Here, let me have some of that.
And he goes, wait a minute, save that corn. Prohibition's over. We could start brewing whiskey again.
They could start doing that. The Irish Mafia soars in power. As it turns out, the Bonars end up becoming the best friends of the Fianna. Who
They
knew?
were the friends we needed the whole time.
And meanwhile, because of the events of World War I, a lot of Fianna all of a sudden got an idea of, what if we moonbridge over to the Middle East to flank Austria? And think, that sounds like a really silly idea. Let's do it anyway. And then they moonbridge over and immediately run into the Silent Striders in the Middle East. And then you have a whole alliance and team up between the Silent Striders and Fianna in the Middle East.
Yep. They showed up and they were like, wait. There's people over here? Yes. Also, I've got a lot to tell you about. There's some shit going on in Egypt. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on over in Asia. I just got back from there. Oh, yeah, the Silver Fangs are doing this shit. And they're like, yes, please, tell me more. Would you like a drink?
I like thinking, this probably wasn't the case because the Silver Fangs are, of course, the tribe of mailmen. But I like thinking this was the Fianna's first introduction to the Silent Striders.
I think so, too. And I think it would be very, very funny. Just a couple of them sitting around a campfire. And the Silent Striders are just filling them all in on what's been going on.
Huh, we never knew that. Why are you telling me about that set person again?
Oh, well, it's just, that's just history.
You lost your home too? So
Here, give me a sec. Let me write that down.
And as time goes on, everything looks like it's about to put itself back together, and then World War II happens. And while World War II is happening, who pops out of the refuge? The Black Sparrow Dancers show up. And Kyle, you remember that scene from Pulp Fiction where Butch sees Marcellus on the sidewalk?
Yeah, it just, motherfucker. And the Fianna slammed the gas on the car.
And that immediately makes the war between them hot again. They thought these guys were dead. But as it turns out, no. You're still alive. And they have this whole thing all over again. The Second World War. Now, there was a second Battle of Tara that happened in 1649, and they thought that the Black Sparrow Dancer issue was done after that happened. But then World War II happens again, and the conflict has been hot, red hot, white hot between the Fianna and the Black Sparrow Dancers ever since that point.
Well, as we
These
recall,
two,
good.
They hate each other. They want to see each other die by any means necessary, and they will split themselves in two to try to get to the Black Sparrow Dancers.
Well, I mean, as we discussed during the Black Spiral video, I mean, after the second battle of Tara, they'd, sort of gone underground. They hid in very remote places and just bred and bred and bred, in order to try and do the typical wormish tactic of human wave. At which point, by the time, that the 1930s, 1940s rolled around, they were fucking everywhere.
And they would have these two massive battles, the third Battle of Tara in 1976 and the fourth Battle of Tara in 2000. Now, I'm just bringing them up now because we don't really have much in writing about them, but those were like the two big showdowns between the Black Spiral Dancers and the Fianna. But there is one moment I'd like to mention that's in first edition, that's not in second edition. While they're having this massive fight between the Black Spiral Dancers, it brings out the worst in the Fianna. They are snarling, they're full of rage, they're doing whatever it takes to have these guys finally die. The Fianna are just breaking themselves in two and becoming people that they don't want to be to get to the Black Spiral Dancers. They're over here on top of a cairn, they've got guns in their hand, spinning around, trying to say, who wants some? Who wants them? Who's left? They feel a tug on their shoulder. They turn around, aim the gun at the face of who, as it turns out, is the Bonars, Sunstriders, and Stargazers. And look at them and say, what do you want? And they say, we want our cairn back. You took our cairn during World War II. Can we have it back? And the Fianna just stop for a second and then put the gun down, look at their hands, and realize, I've become the guy of Fenris. I don't like what I've become. Sure, go ahead and have your cairn back. Sorry I did that. And they graciously take steps back and just let the Bonars, Sunstriders, and Stargazers have what they accidentally took from them.
Yes. See, at least we're willing to admit when we're wrong, unlike everybody else.
I told them when to go get involved.
Yes. But that's because we literally have lost our home and they're going to be smug about it.
And then Ireland becomes a Commonwealth in April 18th, 1949. The Republic of Ireland is formed. They still want North Ireland back. And then
the Mother's Fundies are founded.
Yeah. And who are these Irish radicals that I really do like as a camp.
Yes.
And now they've been living a period called the Troubles, which is the 1970s onward. They were constantly at the throats of the Black Spiral Dancers trying to kill them. And the Black Spiral Dancers are trying to kill them. And then second edition has a little bit more of a spiel behind this, but not that much that we really need to go over.
Matter of fact, the first edition book comic starts with, a group of Mother's Fundies debating on, taking vengeance on a Protestant bar in Belfast.
It's drawn really good too because it goes
phenomenal.
Yeah, and along with the little ending at the end with Stag and the Moon, and he's looking at the pendant.
Mm-hmm.
I really do love first editions, little comics at the beginning.
Yep. I mean, my favorite one is still the Get Ephemeris one, which is, Sergeant Rage and his Killer
Metal
Commandos.
as fuck.
It's awesome. I love it.
And so now we get into, what is it like to play a Fianna? How exactly do you play these guys? Well, being Irish is part of it, but not the end of it.
Yes.
Being Irish helps, but how are you a member of the Fianna? All you have to do is marry into the Fianna, and then you're Fianna.
Yes.
It's that easy.
I believe, I don't remember if it was first or revised edition, but they outright say is that, not everybody who is Fianna has to be Irish. I mean,
because
hell, when
you have a bunch of Amerimuts that are Fianna.
Yep,
you have
a lot
French
of French
Fianna. Yeah, they bred with the French, and they have a whole French branch of the Fianna too. And you don't necessarily need to be Irish to be Fianna, because what is the fundamental, the theme of the Fianna? The family unit.
Yes.
Tradition. That's what it is. Because the Fianna are a very traditional people, even though they look at some stuff in the litany and they say, hey, we're not really okay with some of this shit, they're still really respectful. They look at their history and revere it. They have a lot of respect for their mother and father. Even though the father tends to be an absentee, they still love their dads. There's a massive emphasis placed upon having a biological family or a found family. Because the Fianna are going to be there for you through thick and thin. The Fianna is almost designed to be a mediator in these games.
Yes.
Guys are going to help you out. And you know that I made that video about the litany last week.
Yep.
And I went over in the video saying it's kind of smart in game design that 4 punk tribes were placed at the beginning of the book. The Black Furies, the Bonars, the Children of Gaia, and the Fianna. The Game of Thrones break it up, and then it's immediately followed by the Glassworkers, where it's 5 tribes that look at the Garou Nation and say, hey, I'm not okay with some of this stuff. That's the Fianna. Because the Fianna, they look at some of the stuff in the Garou Nation, they look at some of the stuff in the Litany, and they agree with it. They see the logic behind it, they see why it's there. And then some of the laws, they say, you know what? Fuck you, old man. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to go about my own way.
Yep. They learned that trick from the Bonars, which is when the boss is around, just smile and nod.
Because after all, the Fianna realized that they had to make sacrifices. They had to give some things up if they were going to keep existing. If you continue to cling on to an old idea that you are beholden to, when the idea goes down, you will go down with it. Is a hard lesson they had to learn. And with the kinfolk too, how the Fianna keep control of their kinfolk?
The Fianna are actually quite tight with their kinfolk. They care about them quite deeply. Usually what they're going to do is they're going to give them like some sort of great response. They're going to give them some responsibility for the care in order to remind them of their heritage. The only thing that they don't do is they try not to talk about the worm to them. The less they know about the worm, the better.
They don't talk about the worm, but they do let them know that they are werewolves.
Yes.
Because they'll just walk up to them and say, hey, you want to see a magic trick? And they'll just shift in lupus form right in front of them.
Yep. And if they don't freak out, then they're cool.
They don't do cross form because you're going to freak the fuck out even if you can't focus with the cross form.
Yes.
But even though kin have better resistance to delirium, they still go into delirium all the same.
Yeah, they can at least make the willpower roll for it.
And along with it, the minute that you turn 16 in Ireland or 18 in America, if you're not pregnant, that's a problem.
Yes, they're very, again, being family oriented. They want you to have as big a family as you can.
I want children. I want grandchildren.
Yep,
my beloved smother. It's what you start running into. I'm pretty sure that the Fianna would definitely be on sex ed with you, and I will immediately let you know what this is, what a condom is, what sex is supposed to be. And I'm assuming that if you were 16 in Ireland, they would be perfectly okay with you getting knocked up in high school.
Yeah, because the whole family would be there for you.
Or the man that you're 18 in American school, they'd be perfectly okay with that too. And yeah, it's something uncomfortable, sure, but you know that's Werewolf. Sex is something that comes up a lot in Werewolf.
It does. It does. I blame Enzeroed for a lot of it, but you know. I was also to blame during Rage Across New York. I won't lie about it.
Yes. Now, there is a 4th little thing to add to Renown, by the way. Now, they have 4 little things for Renown. First of all being honor, of course. Mm-hmm. Glory, of course. Wisdom, of course. And humor is something they add on. They want you to be a funny man. Because
we were jesters for a very long time.
Yeah, how did the Fianna earn their keep of the Garou Nation? By being the jesters and being the historians. So, what is something the Fianna have to fight more than anything else? Hirano. Because after all, these guys have lost a shit load of stuff, and considering how much the Weaver's webs have spread, they're not getting it back. They've made peace with the loss already. They know they're not getting it back, but that doesn't mean they're not going to try. They're not going to fall prone to Hirano all the same.
Yes,
so
they're the embodiment of down but not out.
If you manage to push that Hirano back, you get a little bit of renown in the Fianna Designs for doing that. If you manage to overcome your depression or depression of someone else, that's something that works. Which is why there's a whole family unit to the pack too. A pack is not just a group of commandos. That's not what a pack is. There's a whole found family theme going on with Werewolf the Apocalypse, and the Fianna go and show it. You know, you actually need to have everybody in the pack to like each other and be on the same page with each other.
Yep.
Because after all,
good for morale.
You see it, the whole attitude between alphas with the red tones and ephemeris, where it's a whole do what I say when I say disposable hero kind of attitude. And you see how many bridges both of those tribes have burnt down because of that. Where Even though the Gethruns are trying to get their shit back together, no tribe trusts them.
Absolutely not. It's like, yeah, we'll happily fight alongside you because you're really, really fucking good at fighting. But after that, I don't want to be fucking seen near you, and definitely don't follow me back to my sept because I want that to remain my sept.
Yeah, to the point where the children of Gaia out and out refuse to work with the Gethruns.
Yep.
They will not get in the same pack as one. Can we go over to camps now?
Yes. So, camps, let me mosey on down there so we can.
Do you want to do first edition or second edition? I'm looking at first edition.
I am on second edition myself. So tell you what, let me do second edition. You do first edition.
So if you bring up something in second edition that's not that is missing in first edition, I'll bring it up.
All right. So starting us off, of course, we have the Song Keepers. As we have said, the Fianna were, as legend tells, the first tribe to know how to howl. And so they are the major historian camp of the Fianna, not just of Stags Chosen, but the whole Garou nation. That's why the Fianna are known for having the best Galliards in the Garou nation. They bring alive all of the moots and all of the rites, and they make sure that morale is as high as can possibly be, despite all of the terrors that plague the world around them. And, it's not just Galliards in this group, though. Of course, you have the Philodox that learn the wisdom of other tribes. You've got, the Ragabash that likes to keep link with other tribes in order to make sure that everybody's on the same page. But it's on good record that, the Songkeeper moots are, some of the most elaborate in the Garou nation. And even the RI himself is occasionally, baffled by their depth of storytelling.
Right.
And then, of course, yes.
In first edition, it brings up that these guys will be at moots, like talent scouts, with a pen and paper in their hand, bent over, listening to what you're saying, and just saying, how good the story is it? Is it an awesome story? Well, that story's Kino. Put in the silver record. Right here, write that down, and just write down the story and then slap it into a silver record.
Yes.
So remember, be on your A game as a Galliard, because it might get added to the silver record.
Yes. And that's where, if you manage to impress a Songkeeper Fianna, then that renown that you gain from that Galliard is going to basically double.
It will shower over you.
Yes. Following that, we talked earlier in the history of the Fianna about the horned figure wandering the Umbra, the god of the hunt, Hern. And so you have the Brotherhood of Hern. So they're basically what they called the Rapid Reaction Force. They are the guerrilla fighters. If there's a fight, they are first to fight. They go there, they kick some ass, and then they bugger out. Just like, you get in there, kick ass, bounce. That's what they do. They are meant to be in there as soon as humanly possible. If there's worm, you go out there, you hunt, you kill. It's not just Arun, even though they make up the majority of the Brotherhood. Of course, you need some sneaky ones in order to get into the right position, where you have the Ragabash. You need to have the guys that come up with a strategy, which is where you have the Philodox. You need to have the spirits that do some recon for you. That's where you have your Theurges at. And, of course, you have the Galliards to talk about how fucking awesome you all are before and after you kill shit. And this is actually in the book in second edition, where they mention that not every Fianna is Irish, where they mention that you've got some, English, God help them, and some French as well that are also a part of this camp.
And in first edition, there seems to be a plot point that was dropped in second edition where there was a small civil war happening within because they say that the children of Hern are traitors in this.
Really?
Because they're fighting directly for the provincial army.
Well, see, that eventually I feel like that camp would eventually split into what would become in second edition the Mother's Fundamentals. I believe in first edition they're called somebody else. They're called the Ire Fundamentals. Yeah. We have the Provincial Ire Republic, and they're called the Ire Fundamentalists in first edition. Yes.
And so these, of course, are the guys fighting for the IRA. And a lot of Fianna are saying, you've got to drop this. You got to stop doing this. And the Children of Hern just refuse to let this go.
Yes, absolutely. And so, moving on from that, you have the Whispering Rovers. Now, these guys are interesting because they are sort of the antithesis of the Fianna in general. I mean, they're the ones that have to go around to all the other Fianna and let them know what's up. They're sort of like a microcosm of the Silent Striders, where, they go from place to place. They tell you about, who's fighting what, who's at peace, who needs reinforcements, and basically where to find people along the road. And they follow most closely combat the worm wherever it dwells and breeds. This is the camp that follows them the closest.
Now, just so happens with you talking about the French, in first edition, they say that this camp is entirely French.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
So shouldn't their name be Les Rôdeurs Chuchontants?
Yeah, if first edition is to be believed, but that's not always the case.
Yeah, considering that revised kicked a lot of this shit to the curb, even though you were cooking with first edition. You were cooking with some of this shit, and then you just threw it out.
Such is the nature of revised, which is, what we're doing here.
Yeah,
anyway,
which is what happens when you have a massive ass staff change.
Yes. Then you have the grandchildren of Fianna. So these folks look for honor and glory over everything. They join together in really small bands and search out, and they look for good fights. That's what they do. All they really want, they want renown, and they want to kill the worm. That's it.
I was informed in the comments that his name is pronounced Finn McCool.
Oh yeah, Finn McCool, also known as the Celtic myth of the guy who created both the Isle of Man and Rakal.
And along with the IRL Fianna, who were just a band of young men and women who basically just stirred shit up in Ireland for years and years.
Some say that they're directed by Stag himself. They say that they're Stag's chosen heroes more than questing warriors. However, there are some, folks that get lost along the way, and they do their best to be, the strong veterans that, fuck over everybody else, just kill shit. That's what the grandchildren of Fen do.
They're compared to the Geofenris in first edition because these are just the Fianna that don't really care about what the fight is as long as they're fighting.
Yes.
No, these are the guys that the Shadow Lords called during the Second War of Rage in South America. Or the people that were tricked by the Red Talons into killing the Bunyip.
And they were in Australia at the time, so they definitely would have been.
They were just that desperate for a fight.
Yep. I mean, more than likely, they probably, they probably saw all the shit that, all the tactics that the Getafemris were doing when they had to fight them out of...
and they fully bought the lie that was told by Mara to Scream.
Yeah, and while they were doing that, they're like, hey, these guys are, really fucking good fighters. What if we, stole some of their shit and said Stag told us to do it? And so you have the grandchildren of Fen.
Who are the closest you can get to a decent 1v1 build with the Fianna, but they will eventually get outpaced by other camps like the Shadow Lords, for example.
Yes. Rock on, rock on, you'll never fall. And then you have the Children of Dire. If you want to play Diet Red Talons, you have the Children of Dire. And so the Children of Dire are mostly entirely lupus. And they believe that, of course, they have to hold the most sacred and most wild of Fianna Cairns that there are. Their main job is to teach the other Fianna what it means to be a wolf. They have a few honorary Dire Hamids that, try to go out and recruit new members, but very, very few of them. The only major issue is, major lupus groups, they struggle with their numbers, same as the Red Talons. But their job is to make sure that all the most wild places stay wild and all of the wolves stay populous.
In first edition, there was a whole revenge objective with the Children of Dire. Because of all these wolves that were hunted to extinction in Ireland and England, they're just here to get even with humanity. Yes. For every one wolf you killed, we will kill 77 humans.
That is actually true, by the way. I looked it up because I was curious one day. There were, for a long time, wolves in England. So when was the last wolf in...
Doug, I told you I went to Scotland, and there's no fucking forest there anymore.
No. Yeah, so there's no single confirmed date, but they believe that Humphrey Head of Cumbria through Scotland killed the last wolf in 1680. That's the latest confirmed date that they have for the death of the English wolf.
You know what really grinds my gears with European leftism, where it's all this stuff where it seems to be more about control, and yet I've never seen a single like far left man from England actually talk about the environment.
Oh, absolutely not. They want to fuck over, people's lives, and as well as the. Granted, that's just European politics in general.
Yeah, how about you get a fucking forest again?
Yeah, I don't know.
I went over to Scotland. It was the ugliest environment I've ever been in my life.
Well, this is why you go to Ireland, which is actually quite beautiful.
Because you still have all the castles and you actually respect your history.
Well, you have the castles, you've got rolling green fields of everywhere. Like, seriously, the south of Ireland, when I went there years ago, absolutely gorgeous. Highly recommend, Killarney is one of the most beautiful cities I've ever seen.
Make sure to factory reset your phone before you go there, though. They'll arrest you for whatever is on your phone.
Anyhow, then you have the Tuatha De Fionn. So, as we discussed...
The nutcases.
Yes, Tuatha De Fionn. As we discussed, fairies are a huge part of Fianna's history. And so the ones that try to maintain the closest possible relationships and uphold the ancient promise as much as humanly possible are indeed the Tuatha De Fionn. So they call upon the fairies' aid and aid the fairies as much as humanly possible. They're very strange and beautiful lot, the fairies, and their alliances as old as Fianna lore itself, as we've discussed. But the whole thing is that if you're in good with the fairies, you can even go into the Umbra, see Arcadia. You probably can't go there because the She are going to be bitches about it.
Yeah, you need glamour. You need to be enchanted in order to not go batshit insane the minute you step into the dreaming.
Yes, but if you're in with the Tuatha De Fionn and you're in good with them real well, more than likely you might actually make it there.
They also say in first edition, the sentence being, some Garous say they have the power to use fairy magic. If this went down a mechanical route, the same as the Path Dancers with the Actina, and you had Fianna, where even if it was just level 1, able to use a cantrip, that would be fucking insane.
Yeah, that would honestly... I feel like that should be more of an option because that would, that would bring the Fianna, I think, from like a D to a B in terms of combat effectiveness.
Immediate S.
Yes, I think this should absolutely be an option.
Kyle, do I need to remind you what Legerdemain does?
I think you do, because I honestly forgot what Legerdemain does.
So Legerdemain is the whole telekinesis power with Changeling Dreaming.
So you could literally be a Psychonaut Fianna. That's awesome.
Now, the whole thing is that there's a whole weight requirement to how much you can lift.
Yes.
That does not limit you from lifting the sidewalk beneath somebody's feet and lifting them into the air through that.
I honestly think that would be phenomenal. Like, if your DM is willing to do it, go ahead.
At character creation, Kyle, you can kill every enemy in the game through fall damage.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like this should be something that you would reward for, like, doing good with the Tuatha De Fionn. Because, starting the game would be busted. But,
absolutely.
If you were to, slowly work your way through the Tuatha De Fionn and getting really good with the She and the Sealy Court, and then, make it to Arcadia and be blessed with Fey Blood, then I think they should give you a cantrip.
Or Fianna who are using chimerical items. AKA, he looks like he's just swinging his arms in the air. No, as it turns out, he's got an invisible, inaudible sword that is just going to slash clean through you in one swipe.
I was partying with the Puka, and they gave me the sword that removes a man's clothes. You hit somebody with it, and all their clothes fall off.
Exactly. Playing, what was it, Ghouls and Ghosts?
Yes, basically. It's really... that'd be really funny, actually.
It's got Fianna jumping in place, throwing his lances.
You walk over to, a first team member, and he's kitted out in, level 4 plates and a helmet. You hit him once, and all of the armor just falls off.
Immediately. And the governor says, thanks for the kill, buddy.
Don't mention it. Anyhow.
Easy schmeezy.
Then, of course, you have the Mother's Fundies. In 1916. All right, it's enough Irish music out of me. So, the Fundies, as the book recounts, at least in revised edition, page 52, the Fundies are the embarrassing cousins we try not to talk about. the murdering bastards who sometimes seem more like to get than us. And that's including the grandchildren of Finn. They got really, really into the Troubles. They really, really bought into being a part of the IRA. And now all they do is kill their own kinfolk because they're fucking stupid.
These are guys who looked at the Imperium and said, you know what? Everything went wrong when we stopped doing this. Let's go back to doing it. That's what they wanted.
Then they killed all their kinfolk in North Ireland.
They want to get on their hands on as many weapons as possible and just get rid of all of humanity in Ireland and then start spreading across the rest of Europe and eventually the entire world.
Yep. They call them Hamid Red Talons, which I think is really funny.
And these are the only people that, if it's a Hamid, it's impossible. If you have a Metis Ire fundamentalist, those will go along with the Red Talons.
Yes.
And that's it. That's the one possible friendship between Red Talon and Fianna.
Well, no, there's the Children of Dire as well. They're all lupus.
That too, yeah.
Matter of fact, I had Children of Dire that was, that was Camp Warder Sept Warder in Rage Across Appalachia.
I could have kicked his ass. You just didn't give me a chance.
You certainly could have. I had a stat block built for him. His name, I think it was Bites the Head of the Worm or something like that. I
go full-blown Wendigo Conquest.
Yeah, and it would have been just a fucking pain in the ass to run that. It was a pain in the ass to run that game. Anyway,
because it was your first one. This gets easier as you do it.
We'll see.
Kyle, the girl game that I'm running on Saturdays is so low preparation. It's so easy.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I am reusing a lot of assets from Appalachia.
With the girl game, I just
Miami.
have 12 screens we hop between. That's it.
You do better than me. At least this time I get to focus on one fucking city instead of doing the globe-trotting bullshit like I thought would be a good
what
idea.
you want to do with some of these games is that you want to box areas in. Because I did that with the girl game. I'm doing that with the girl game, and I did that with Disco by Night, where we had 12 to 18 screens that I made, and then that was it. I made no other maps.
Right. Okay, so do we want to go over the litany?
With breeds, let's briefly mentioning breeds. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Lupus, Fianna are becoming increasingly rare. I mean,
hey,
what was that meme? You sent me a meme once upon a time where it was, "Here's your steak, sir. Oh, how rare is it?" And then you cut open and it says biological female furries.
Yes.
Oh, that is rare.
Yes, that it's the same thing with Lupus, Fianna.
And with Hamids, I mean, 90% of the tribe at this point is Hamid.
Yes.
By this point. Well, on the record, 90%. Off the record, it's more Metis.
I'm never pro for that. At least I got an invisible one, but the only problem is my heart stops every now and again.
If you want to know why the Children of Gaia and Bonars are filled with Metis, it is Fianna's fault.
We just look so good. It's hard to keep away from us, I'm sure.
It's that the Fianna will tell you that the Children of Gaia are too weak and accommodating, and then directly take advantage of that weakness and accommodation.
Well, I mean, they're pretty looking. We're pretty looking.
Yeah. The Children of Gaia just don't know how to say no to anybody.
No, they don't.
And then
makes for a fun moot after party.
And speaking of moots, if you want to talk about a party amongst the Garou Nation.
Oh boy, I got a keg, buddy.
This is where you go, where it begins with dancing, it begins with songs, it begins with all these friends saying, "Hey, buddy, I haven't seen you in a while. You survived that fight? Oh, I'm glad to see that you're still alive. Did Steve make it? No, he's dead. Oh, that sucks. Let's pour out a pint in his honor."
And so it was.
They're just any sort of crazy party you can have that's very tribal in nature, European pagan kind of themed. That's what the Fianna parties look like.
You light a big bonfire, you do some drinking, you dance the dances, you drink a lot, you sing some songs, there's some more heavy drinking, you go fight somebody because he looked at you funny, there's some heavy drinking, that lass over there looks really nice, let's have a drink after. And so it goes on and on.
Depending on where you live, because it's a barbecue if you live in Australia, it's a black barbecue if you live in America.
It's still a barbecue.
Yes, should I know this is good? I'm the guy who marinated this meat in the Namekian pepper sauce and let it marinate in the hyperbolic time chamber. But
Yep.
you youngins won't know anything about that.
And then you do a keg stand, and then everybody has a good time.
It just varies a little bit. And then there's a whole, like, the meeting goes by relatively quickly. And then after the meeting is done, you have all the different stories. And then you have the competitive fights. And then the revel is just fucking insane, where everybody just goes around, pick up a chair and smash it over each other's shoulders and just go absolutely ape shit. And then you are horribly hungover the next morning.
You drink, good drink, good drink, good drink, and then we'll drink some more. We'll dance and sing and fight until the early morning light. All right, so go ahead.
Pointed out to me by Melissa, the Fianna have resist poison as a gift.
Yeah, God, I'm right with it.
Which makes it very difficult for them to get drunk. But at the same time, if you have a Metis werewolf, you automatically have stuff like resist poison on you at all times.
Yep.
So if you were to have Metis Fianna just chilling out, they would never get drunk.
No, you could just keep going and going and going and going. And then everybody else is all passed out and hungover, like, what the fuck?
What you could do, Tyler Bass, is that you could stick your nose in the bag of fentanyl and you would survive.
I mean, I did that with that Vita I had to drink in order to close up the hole in my chest, but you know.
And along with it reminds you've seen Chainsaw Man. It's that whole scene with Makima during the drinking contest.
Yep.
Where everyone else at the table is all passed out, like spilled over the floor. Meanwhile, Makima is ordering her 20th beer of the evening. And she's not even blushing.
My kind of woman. Hell yeah.
It is. You gotta find a woman who's gonna abuse the shit out of you and dominate you.
Well, you know, we all gotta be something.
As to the rite of passage, it tends to be stuff that's really fucking hard to do to get your rite of passage.
Yes.
Like, the applicant must be well versed in 12 books of poetry. All 12 books, you must memorize the poems, and it will ask you to recite a poem at random, or, I don't know, poem 12, stanza 7, and you have to remember what it is. The applicant is buried up to her midsection in the earth. She must then defend herself with but a shield and a hazel stick against 9 warriors with spears. If you're stabbed once, you fail. The applicant's hair is woven into braids, and she is chased to the woods. If the braid is undone at any point, or if she steps on a stick that snaps, you fail. The applicant must pull a thorn from her foot while running without slackening in pace, and many more 9 impossible feats of choice, depending on the White Master. Tends to be what your rite of passage is.
Yes.
There are ball busters by design. Because that's traditional.
I mean, we've almost died several times, so we need to know that you can survive.
Yeah, we don't want to raise a pussy, is the whole shtick.
Yep.
As for the Fianna calendar, there are holidays amongst the Fianna.
Yes, there are. So
we have...
Yes, go ahead.
I'll start you off. We have Imbolc first.
Yes. So why are they regarded... Go ahead. Are you going
to... sorry. It's Groundhog Day.
Basically, yes. February 1st, February 2nd. It's basically, I think the first book remarks as the thank God it's over holiday.
Yeah. Is symbolizing the first day of spring, and whether or not Punxsutawney Phil sees to shed it or not doesn't necessarily matter. It means it can finally stop being fucking cold, and we can finally get some warm days.
Yeah, basically.
And then you have to deal with the fickle weather of February and March.
Well, yeah, we're in the middle of that right now. It was pouring down rain earlier. It's supposed to snow another 2 weekends from now.
It doesn't get cold in North Carolina anymore. You just have warm weather down here, and that's hot.
It goes from, like, warm to fuck me, I need some air conditioning.
Yes, God, it gets 98 degrees out here in the summer.
So it does up here. You're not special.
It is. Next up is Beltane, May the 1st to May 2nd.
Yes. Typically, before the communists stole it and made it May Day, it's a fertility rite.
If
Use
you
your
want to
imagination.
Somebody on this day,
yes.
You want somebody to split you up the middle.
If Laurie McKay looks particularly fresh this day, well, today's the day to do it on Beltane.
See. Next up is Lunasa.
Yes. So, Lunasa celebrates Luch and his victory over the First Fomori, which we discussed, about him stabbing Balor in the eye with the lightning bolt, and then banishing the Beast of War spirit that accompanied him. And so basically, it's a time to sit down, talk about how awesome you are, and then bandage up your wounds and get ready for the next fight.
It is also August 1st, which is to symbolize the beginning of harvest.
Yes, indeed.
AKA the period of time where Rat Bread disappears for 2 months.
Yep. And then you have Samhain, which is from October 31st and November 1st. This is the official end of the Fianna calendar. So basically, this is Fianna New Year, Samhain. So during Samhain, it becomes easier for spirits to enter the material world. So you recite the Silver Record, pay homage to the ancestors, and hold a great feast to celebrate life as well.
And this is a all-day festival. This goes on the whole damn day.
You wake up, you show up, you eat, you drink, you talk about the Silver Record, you pray to the ancestors, and then you fight someone.
It is, and that's it's a party, but you gotta be there.
Absolutely.
It's almost like a corporate party, like a corporate Christmas party. It's, hey, you're invited to this Christmas party. You gotta be there.
I mean, you can't just Bueller your way through it. You gotta go because, I mean, at least then they'll serve you enough liquor so you can't see straight.
And they'll also celebrate the winter solstice, summer solstice, spring equinox, and autumn equinox for pagan reasons.
Oh, yeah.
And now we get into the litany.
Okay. So.
First law, Garou shouldn't fuck each other.
No, we kind of fucked that up, did we?
Nah, they don't give a fuck about this rule.
It says in the revised book, and I think this is absolutely hilarious. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. We birth a fair share of mules. Okay, more than our fair share.
And
fuck. It's all very... I fucking love how this book's written. God damn it.
In first edition, say, now it's natural for two young pups who play together, fight together, drink together, and dance together to feel desire, passion, and even love for each other. But it's wrong to bring a mess into the world. They say, you can fuck as long as you wear a condom. As long as you're using spermicide. Though the minute your fucking cross-formed cock breaks the condom and you end up getting her pregnant, we have an issue.
Yeah, basically. But you can't get an abortion. That's wormish. So you just give it to the bonars.
It's not very Catholic of you.
No, it is not. Anyway.
So yeah, you can do it as long as it doesn't end in pregnancy.
Yes.
And don't tell the Surfangs or the Shadowlords that you did that.
Well, no, because then they'll just kill you.
Or the Red Talons, where for some reason the Red Talons stand by the litany right or die.
And then they just eat the baby.
Yeah. See, delicious baby flesh.
Yes.
Combat the worm wherever it dwells and wherever it breeds.
Well, yeah, we are talking about the Brotherhood of Harn, so yeah, do that.
And given how much these guys fucking hate the BSDs, oh yes, they're doing this.
It's like, hey, that guy smells funny. Let me pull out a gun and shoot him in the head.
You've heard of TDS? Well, guess what? We got BSDTS.
Black Spiral Dancer Derangement Syndrome?
Sorry. BSDDS is what it was supposed to be.
Yes.
You spend every day
online. You can say Black
online.
Spiral Derangement Syndrome. That works fine.
You spend every day on the internet, Fianna, posting about how much you hate the Black Spirals and how much they ruined your life.
I'd love to make like a 4chan post where it's just like it's like that one where it's like, does anybody else fucking hate demons? I want to go down to hell and fucking kill demons, and it's like an angel with a billion eyes in front of a computer.
Is the Fianna just strangling their computers?
Yeah, he's just sitting there mashing on the keyboard, glaring at it. Okay.
Respect the territory of another.
We actually did that once, unlike, the Get Ephemeris.
They'll do that until the Wendigo get involved.
Well, yeah, but hey, you weren't using it, and we need a place to live after our home got absolutely fucked over by everybody.
And on top of that, with the actions done by the Surfangs, Lost Workers, and Get Ephemeris, they got something to say to all three of those tropes about this point.
Yup. And you can say what you want, but then you just, sit up there, none of it, and do fucking nothing.
Mm-hmm.
For all the bellyaching they do about the camps that were still in, they really don't do anything about it, do they?
No.
So go ahead, let them bitch.
Accept an honorable surrender.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this?
Well, yeah. unless they suck, then we just kill them.
Because the Fianna were in a small civil war with each other as of first edition, they say if one of us surrenders, please accept it because there's not enough of us left on this world for this shit to happen.
Basically.
Don't execute each other, please.
And so it is.
And if you're on the receiving end of a loss, try to be a graceful loser. So they point out.
Yep.
Submission to those of a higher station.
Oh, fuck that.
They say in first edition, yes, just go along with it. Just do it. Just do it.
For this, for revised edition, they're like, we're unruly, but, never entirely happy under any leader. But, you gotta keep the alphas on their toes.
Mm-hmm. You gotta have some ragabashing in you.
Absolutely.
The first share of the kill for the greater station.
Yeah. I mean, what's funny is it actually says on revised edition, never understood why this is in there. The greatest in station is there because he's the best because he's able to take the first share.
For the Fianna in first edition, they treat it more like a respect your elders kind of thing, where the elders get to decide what gets done first. The kids have to wait in line last. As I treat it.
Yep. When
it's Christmas at the Fianna's house, the grandparents open the presents first. The children do it last.
Yep.
Ye shall not eat the flesh of humans.
Don't eat your friends. It's not good for you.
They say don't do this, you'll go insane from doing it.
Basically, yep.
Respect for those beneath ye, all ye of are all of Gaia. Fucking the wording on this.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Everything is part of a cycle. We grow old, we die. All that matters is our deeds and how we're remembered. If you spend your time cuffing cubs and puffing yourself up, then when those cubs meet a council of song and you're a pile of molten bones, you're not going to be remembered well. No, what comes around goes around, and the life you lived is going to reflect on you in death.
Basically. Just got to remember that, even if you're fighting with some fucking dumbasses, if everything's gone but a few bloody Garou at the end, it'll be hollow. You need to respect everybody.
Once again, like a whole elder respect thing. You would not catch these guys saying "okay, boomer" to anybody.
Oh, absolutely not.
The veil shall not be lifted. Do we even need to explain this one?
No. We're there. It's there for a reason.
Do not suffer thy people to tend thy sickness. Well, given their attitude towards Metis.
I mean, yeah, there's that, but it's a two-sided coin. Fuck the Metis, but at the same time, it's really hard to say no to your family.
They also say they're fully on board with the idea of euthanasia in first edition. They're saying, if I get mangled in a fight and there's no way I can regenerate past this, I'd rather you cut my head off than let me go on the way I am.
I feel like that's a note from the editor of that one there.
Well, euthanasia?
Well, no, I mean just for the narrator, I should say.
Yeah. The leader may be challenged at any time during peace.
Maybe more like should be.
No, we get to these two laws of the litany now.
Yes. Alphas should be strong. We all have good days and bad days. Constant challenges make sure that we're keeping up with who's best at doing everything.
There's a proverb they cite within this. They say, Garou who spend their time making challenges instead of winning renown don't stay leaders long. The Fianna will say, yes, you gotta go along with what the leader says when they say it, but the leader needs to expect people say, hey, we're not on board with you when you're not getting any sort of renown and you're not a good leader. It's going to happen to you.
Yep.
And then the big one, the leader may not be challenged during wartime.
Yeah, I mean, fighting with each other when there's an enemy to take down is just a waste of time and energy.
Now, granted, the Fianna have a different approach towards this than most other tribes that are more punk do. Because remember, these guys are currently dealing with the BSDs. These guys have spent their entire history fighting for their damn lives 24/7. And these guys are currently in times of troubles. They don't have the time to try to debate this because they're too busy trying to not die for this be something for them to worry about.
Absolutely. They need to hold on as long as they possibly can.
And then I feel like another self-explanatory thing is ye shall take no action that causes a Karen to be violated.
Yep, basically. Although I will like to point out in revised edition, it mentions, and allowing a Karen to be violated by inactivity is just as bad. That's why we've had to take Karens off the hands of those other tribes who are unable to defend them properly in their past. We didn't like doing it, but we knew it was our duty to mother, and we took comfort in that.
There's also a little tidbit at the end of this about fostering. If you are playing as a Fianna, take the mentor background because the Fianna strongly believe in doing that.
Oh, absolutely. You got to raise your kids good.
Yeah, there are many father and mother figures amongst the Fianna.
Part of the reason I like them so much.
Yeah, and once again, like I said before, the family unit is one of the most important things to the Fianna.
That it absolutely is.
Now, do the Fianna think that the apocalypse can be prevented, or is there going to be a post-apocalypse?
That's an excellent question, actually.
As they're saying that in first edition that everything goes off a cycle. No, it's a very similar attitude to the Stargazers in a way. They're saying that the apocalypse is just the end of one of those cycles and the beginning of another. They fully believe that there is going to be a post-apocalypse. Now, as for what's going to survive into the post-apocalypse, they don't know. They can't tell you. But they're pretty damn sure that there's still going to be a world after the apocalypse.
Yep. And if you live, you get to decide what it looks like.
In regards to a tribe falls last battleground in some situations and Ragnarok, they're right. In regards to Weaver Ascending, they couldn't be more wrong.
Well, I mean, the world does exist after Weaver Ascending, if I remember it correctly.
Well, they blew it up and they got to start all over again.
I mean, yeah, but at least they got to start it all over again.
And they got to fix it all over again with the dumbest possible ending, where it turns out the Weaver and Worm were in love, and they just had a lover's dispute that lasted 12,000 years.
I didn't actually read it like that. I just thought they, eventually realized like what they had a Boondocks, as Boondocks would describe, that kind of moment, and went, "Hey, yo, man, this is stupid."
And it went on for too long, and you caused the destruction of all of existence because of it.
I mean, still, it was as good of an ending as it could get, and I believe we said that during...
The Weaver's stupid and the Worm is stupid. The entire tribe, everybody in here, you're all idiots.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Every single one of you.
Only bunch of fucking idiots can make a crap sack world like the World of Darkness, you know?
In terms of, like, where you can find Fianna... This section isn't really that interesting. I mean, like, yeah, you can find them in Ireland, you can find Wales, Scotland, England, Australia, spread out through Europe in some areas.
Yep.
There's a specific spot in America they list in this book, Boston, Massachusetts.
Yes, they do mention that. I think they do that in first edition. They don't do that in revised.
Yeah, that is Fianna Central in America. Is where... They say, quote, most of the Fianna around Boston are proud of their Irish descent. They tend to support the grandchildren of Fionn, and more than a few have done their part for the Troubles.
Yes, absolutely.
This is where they're at their strongest. And given how many bars are in Boston, do you believe in that?
Well, yes, because I mean, hell, the chick that was serving us in the bar was Irish.
Now, if the Fianna drank a pineapple beer, would they vomit into it?
Yes. It would be I strongly believe this is an insult to the mother herself.
Hey, I hate to be a burden, but I think somebody vomited in your bathroom.
Fuck.
It's not him vomiting that I'm laughing about. Self-report.
I mean, I've done that myself. I'm not even
that
gonna
was
lie.
A full-blown Among Us move.
I am not even gonna. Well, I mean, like, what are you gonna do? Leave it in there for some poor bastard to find?
Yeah, you get the fuck out of there when you do that.
I mean, hey, look, no, let's leave that.
When you take the mean ass shit in Chipotle, do you stick around Chipotle and let them know you took the mean ass shit in there?
Well, that's different.
Yeah, that's what you do. It's the same with vomiting.
Well, no, vomiting's different. Vomiting's entirely involuntary. All right, everybody poops, but like you only throw up if something's terribly, terribly wrong.
You gotta tell it to the court. You gotta tell it to Jeremy Hambley, who tells his female staff all the time about how much he shits his pants in Walmart.
No, I would not tell anybody that.
He said on his show like he shat in his pants in the Walmart. He shat in a trash can in a movie theater.
That's disgusting.
He pees in his own sink.
Also disgusting. You put your dishes there. You don't pee in the sink.
No, in his bathroom sink. Like the toilets for pooping and then the sink is for peeing.
That's also disgusting. You wash your fucking hands there.
Attitudes toward the other tribes. Let's do it.
Okay. I think this is the part that I did in the original one. So
you did. Yeah. We just stopped at 3 tribes. We didn't go through all of them.
Oh, for old time's sake, from the top with the Black Furies. Fierce ladies, nobody can deny their lust for battle and passion and the reverence for history. And just like the Fianna spread out all over the world, but they know where their homeland is, we respect that. And they even watch over their kinfolk with the determination that puts the Fianna to shame. The problem is that they miss half the picture. You know, men are good people to have around. You know, even cutting the lovemaking out of the equation, you're still missing half the picture. Mother Gaia loves sons and daughters equally. They need to remember that.
They note that there's a tradition that the Black Furies seem to do with the Fianna, that when it looks like you're about to get into foreplay with the Black Fury, they will either with their hands or with their teeth rip your dick and balls off and then proceed to beat you half to death in the bedroom.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then dip out. They say it's every Fianna's dream to fuck a Black Fury, but very few of them have actually accomplished that, and the Black Furies just hate us for that reason.
So Tyler is now officially the most winningest Fianna in the world.
You managed to accomplish it, but joke's on you. Your cock and balls don't work.
I know, it's a curse. And I've already been cursed twice now in this game.
You got a sperm count of 0.
It's not my fault I was a fucked up little menace.
They're new best friends, the Bonars.
Yes. Just so you don't get the wrong idea, I want to point out that as far as we're concerned, if you're not doing things with your kin and mother guy in mind, you aren't doing anything worthwhile. And once you've got that, you know, with the Bonars, a lot of tribes look down on them. But they fight to the heart of the scabs, and they find hope in every city. They, as well as the Fianna, know that there's kin in every tribe, more or less. They keep an eye on them, and, you know, when you're in town, hang out with the Bonars. They're welcoming, they're not stuck up, they'll always help you out. The only problem is their drink sucks.
They point out in first edition that if you scratch their back, they'll scratch yours. There's a whole relationship between the Fianna where they know that the Bonars are necessary to be friends with, especially in a world that's seemingly controlled by the Weaver, order, and reason.
Exactly. They're like, okay, this world's far beyond us, but you know who's always got a handle in the situation is the Bonars. Let's go talk to them first.
You gotta be friends with them in the modern life. You cannot function without these guys.
Yep. You need somebody on the bottom to build the pyramid.
See, the Children of Gaia.
So, they like the Gaians. You know, unity between the tribes sounds like a great idea. Of course, they're running out of time to sort that out. But, you know, the Garou would be the Garou nation as a whole would be a lot better if they were unified. And, you know, they smile, they sing, they joke as much as the rest of us. And as the book recalls, and I got to read this verbatim, but, well, they're kind of, well, wet, you know, no passion to them. They remind me of the sissy types you used to kick around at school. To them, love is a gentle, warm flame of a torch. To us, it's the blazing heat of the bonfire. Get some good whiskey in them, find a nice fire, and get into bed with them, and have fun.
They have a low opinion of them in first edition. They say in first edition, there's only one thing you can do with a child of Gaia, and that's sex. Either homosexual or heterosexual is just sex. They say if it looks like a snake, if it smells like a snake and sounds like a snake, you don't need to touch it to find out it's a snake. Just smash its head in. They say that the Children of Gaia are impossible to talk to because they're either too soft or they cannot take a joke. They say that the Children of Gaia are the kind of guys that you go to the bar with and you say, oh, da-da-da, and the Children of Gaia look over, well, what do you mean by that? Oh, no.
Just fucking with you. Calm
down.
down.
What you mean by that. And it's about that point the Fianna go, all right, party's over. Somebody call an Uber.
Fine, if you're going to be a stick in the mud, I'll go drink at home.
That's the thing, because they're those kind of liberals where you cannot tolerate any jokes around them because everything's offensive.
You got to find one like Lance. That Lance guy, he's a good guy.
Yeah, that's the whole issue with them.
Yep.
Uh,
the get of Ferris. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. If you're in a fight, there's no one better to back you up. They learned that centuries ago when they took down the Worm Howlers together. And now they're a bunch of misguided bastards who are in danger of doing more harm than good. They do have a problem with the get. Most people have a problem with the get, not just because they stole half of the Karens back in England, but, fighting isn't an end to its own right. If they fight for, their home, their people, if they like to go home, get a good meal, have a drink, and just, have fun for a little bit, then it's great. But if all you're doing is just fighting and killing them, what the hell's the point?
They say the get Ferris is way too macho for their own good. That it's testosterone poisoning the tribe. They call you queer. They call you a spurg. They make fun of everything you do. They constantly browbeat what the Fianna do. And they finally say, you're just not fun to hang around. We don't want to be around you.
Yep. As Revised Edition recounts, yeah, they're good warriors and some of their kin are sexy as fuck, but would you have anything to talk to them about in the morning? I don't think so. Miserable bastards to a man. That includes to women.
Having one get Ferris in your pack is one get Ferris too many.
Well, if the proverbial hits the fan, then there's nobody better to have around. But other than that, no, you don't want to fuck with them.
And they say that, yeah, you can be good warriors, just be good warriors over there. We don't want anything to
do. It's like, here, you hold them off. I'm going to go stop the right, okay?
Yeah. The G-dubs.
Yes. They have all the time for the Bone Gnawers, but they can't have the same amount of time for the Glasswalkers. Because the Gnawers can find wild in even the most weaverish places. The Glasswalkers just tangle themselves up in the Weaver's webs time and time again. They've lost so many ancestral lands to the Weaver's webs that they don't want to give the Glasswalkers the time of day. They're just a festering scab of they hang around in London, which is a festering scab. They fucking hate the Glasswalkers.
Their attitude towards the Glasswalkers in First Edition is, please die. they hate these guys. Their opinions of them is that these guys are either two things: career criminals, the worst kind, or people that, while they were losing Ireland and surfings and austere how were in town, the Glassworkers just came in, stole their cairns, and exploited their own resources and culture for money. And they have never forgiven the Glassworkers for doing that.
As they shouldn't.
They really do believe that Garou Nation would be better off if these guys were just not even part of it.
As a player, this is where my duality comes into play, because as a player, by heritage, I identify so strongly with the Fianna, but I'm a fucking Glasswalker is my day job.
And then for me, on the opposite, my tribe has changed from Glasswalker to Bonar.
Yeah, it kind of has.
It's because I have a massive network of legal and illegal Latin Americans on my side now.
Do you have more than $1,000?
I suppose so.
Oh, well, you got to give up some of that. Jackal's Curse is going to...
I gotta start spending it all on Carolina Cash Pop.
Absolutely. Bunch of hookers and cocaine.
I gotta get a gambling addiction like Bossman Jack.
The Red Talons. Their howls are absolutely beautiful, like nothing else you'd ever hear. The only problem is that they absolutely hate humans. They cannot recognize humans as kinfolk, and it's brought the Fianna to blows with them. Particularly in Spain, of all places. It's sort of like the same thing with the Furies, where it's like, they have their role in the song, but they're so obsessed that they've forgotten about how all the other howls can build into a greater song. And yes, the Talons absolutely have a place in society, but, they keep forgetting that werewolves are supposed to be half man, half wolf.
With the Red Talons, the Fianna almost see these guys as kindred spirits. They know what it's like to lose something, and the Red Talons have actually been losing ground for longer than the Fianna have.
Yes.
They really want to see these guys smile. They really want to have some sort of relationship with the Red Talons, but they know that the Red Talons, by their nature, you just cannot have that kind of relationship.
Certainly.
So
not.
they just look at them at pity instead and say, if it wasn't for Griffin, if it wasn't for your kind of culture, we could have had this kind of relationship that we had with the White Howlers. But because you are who you are, we cannot do that.
Yep. They just kill too much, and it just doesn't work.
And the Red Talons say, well, fine, we don't need you anyway. We got the Wendigo.
Yep. And so it was. Shadow Lords. The Fianna don't have the best relationships with the Shadow Lords. Fianna are very straightforward, no bullshit kind of people. And the Shadow Lords play things pretty close to the chest. They could trust them as far as they could throw them. And, you know, that basically sums up everything, is that, you know.
They see the Shadow Lords as an absolute joke. These guys are just posers in the eyes of the Fianna in First Edition. If the Silverfangs asked them to do a nut-kicking competition, between the Fianna and Silverfangs, who can get the Shadow Lords to scream the loudest by kicking them in the balls, they would gladly participate.
Absolutely. And the
no respect for the Shadow Lords.
Yes, as they shouldn't. Silent Striders. They absolutely love the Silent Striders. They've got awesome stories. They love to hang around. The only sad part is that, you know, they don't really appreciate homebodies. They don't really settle down. They're always a welcome guest in their homes, and they wish that they could stick around just a bit longer, but they know that they have their jobs.
They like the Silent Striders too in First Edition, though they've noticed that for some reason stuff around their cairns or in their houses will just go missing the day after a Silent Strider is there. They say too, we'll throw a party with them, we'll hang out with them, and then we wake up the next morning and they're just gone.
Yeah. And then, you know, where were all those really nice glasses we had sitting out of the that motherfucker.
I had $400 in cash in my pocket, and now it's gone.
Basically.
Yeah.
Silverfangs. Their time's passed. They've watched noble houses collapse. They all know the story of Winter Snow, you know. And sure, King Albert, what's his name, is doing good stuff in America, and he's probably the last good leader that tribe will ever produce. And, well, all the Garou that will fight in the final battle have already been formed, and they highly doubt that it's going to be a Silverfang that will lead them into apocalypse. And, you know, they just expect to rule, and they don't expect to have to prove it anymore. And quite frankly, they can fuck off.
In First Edition, they're strongly projecting the White Howlers onto the Silverfangs. They really wanted their approval in First Edition, because they fought for it with Winter Howl, only to find out it was all for nothing. And they still tried with Austere Howl and Wormfoe, only to get nowhere with them. For whatever reason, they think there's going to be some sort of aspiration and absolving and being friends with the Silverfangs. Though I think they're only doing this just because they're the closest thing there is to the White Howlers, that they remind them of the White Howlers so strongly.
Yep.
And that's it. Everything
fucking hurts. It's just the worst.
It's just projection, ultimately, with the Silverfangs relationship.
Yep. Stargazer's just pretty brutal. You don't run out on your family. And that's exactly what the Stargazers did. That's it.
They really don't like him in Second Edition. But back when they were with the Garou Nation in First Edition before they quit, they said that, these guys are fun to talk to. They got some things worth hearing. We think some of the stuff they say is nonsense, but occasionally they'll say something that sounds smart. They're like us, they're aware of history. They have their own view of cycles. They sound like they know. They might be close to know what they're talking about, but they just need a little bit more conversing, and then eventually they'll catch on to what we were thinking about. And then they left.
Yep, pretty much.
And they never forgave them for doing that.
Yeah.
So depending on what kind of time frame, if your game takes place before the Week of Nightmares, the Fianna actually have a good relationship with the Stargazers.
Yep. And any time other than that, no, you fucked off and decided to not help us anymore. You can go shove it. Fuck it.
The Uktena.
Yes. The more time you spend around a bunch of people, the more time you come to understand them. Except with the well, actually, hang on. Let me take another look at this, because it's kind of weird how they word this in Revised Edition.
Yeah, Revised starts getting weird with its writing.
Yeah, it does. They don't quite trust the Uktena because of how much time they spend, guarding the Wyrm's fallen miners and other weird things that they do. they, you know, they bound spirits back when they were still in Ireland and Scotland, but, you know, the Ectena's unwillingness to share the burden of being Bane tenders really rubs the Fianna the wrong way.
It's also noted in first edition, the Ectena are strongly jealous of their relationship with the Fae, because the Ectena have been trying to get into good graces of the Nuninhi for years, by this point. Along with it, the Fiannas naively say they can be strong allies against the Black Spell Dancers, not knowing there's an entire secret camp of the Ectena that teams up with the Black Spell Dancers to commit hate crimes.
Then again, I mean, like, how the fuck are they supposed to know?
These guys are trying to helter-skelter you. You're not friends.
Yeah, I know. Makes the child of Gaia's pipe dream of united Garou even more hollow.
Yeah, exactly. Because the Ectena won't let this go. That's why.
Yep. The
And
Wendigo.
I'm not letting go of the Wendigo.
Yeah, especially not. They don't like us. They really don't like us. They don't talk to us. They don't work with us. They want nothing to do with us. They have some history. I mean, yeah, when we got kicked out of Ireland, we took some of the old, you know, Croats and Karens because we literally had no place to go. And, you know, they didn't even take any time to hear them out whatsoever. They blame us for leading the rest of the friggin', you know, European Garou over here, even though it was not our fault whatsoever what the Shadow Lords did in South America. Matter of fact, we weren't even there. We were up here.
And the Fianna are looking at the Wendigo and saying, "You have been riding my back all night. You want to step outside and you want to get this done today?" That's the whole relationship with them.
And then a Wendigo tears them a new one because the fucking Wendigo and they're scary.
Yeah, the Wendigo have devouring rhyme. Behold, as I get a free punch on you that you can't dodge.
Yep. And then, you know, flame dance. Fuck you.
And then the other shapeshifters, where in first edition they only really have an opinion on 3. That's it.
They have quite a few in... quite a few in Revised Edition.
They're convinced that the bastards are dead.
Yes, indeed.
But what we have here is failure to communicate.
Basically, yes. Starting with the top...
What cats? What cats? I don't see no cats.
Yeah, they don't believe that... They hear that there are in South America and Africa, but they haven't seen any of them anywhere else.
The Fianna say in first edition with the Bastet, just don't even bother with these guys.
They are very pernicious, so we'll admit.
Yeah, you can't trust the Bastet because they're so angry all the damn time that they'll immediately go back on promises with you off a whim.
I mean, surprisingly, Chichita didn't kill Tyler on sight.
Because, you know, we had other shit to get to. We had Antediluvian to settle.
Yeah, I was, I feel like I put a bit of damper on things. Starting from the top, you have the, well, not really the top anymore since we talked about the Bastet, but we have the Anunnaki. They're weird. I mean, spiders eat their young and stuff. They have a really warped set of values and try to get in everybody's heads, but they're really hard to keep track of. They really don't see them all that much.
Mm-mm.
Some of them think that they serve the worm, but they don't really know. It's just weird. Again, Bastet, we've been over that. They might be in South America and Africa. They don't know.
They're somewhere.
Yep.
We all know.
The Korax. They're old friends with the Korax. If they see one drop into a moot and they've got some, juicy gossip, or they want to just hang around and talk, and then, or maybe they want to fight a little bit, and, they're just good people to have around. They didn't turn a blind eye to the Korax during the War of Rage. They actively work to protect them. They love the Korax.
They cling on to them in first edition, say, Korax, you are our one true friend. You're the only people who will understand us. Please don't ever leave us, Korax.
And meanwhile, the Shadow Lords are just looking at them like an angry mother holding a rolling pin.
Yeah. The minute the Shadow Lords could backstab and kill the Fianna just to keep the Korax all to themselves.
Oh, they definitely would. And, it'd be a tragedy. I feel like that'd be part of the Shadow Lords falling to the worm would be that.
Like an angry, jealous girlfriend Shadow Lord just fits too well, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. I can imagine like the Fianna going is like, holy shit, the Shadow Lords are killing us, and everybody else in the Garou except maybe the children of Gaia and maybe the Bonars going, yeah, so what?
Yeah. Oh, it's an tragedy. Sips coffee.
Basically. Oh no. Anyway. And then you lose the entirety of Garou history. Good job,
You do.
dumbass.
A lot of records are gone.
Yep. And then the Gural. There's a lot of trepidation about invoking the Gural.
Yeah, there was a moment that was brought up and revised where some girl in Scotland tried pushing back against Scottish rule only for them to die.
Yes.
The Fianna did a system in that, but it didn't go anywhere, which is why I forgot about it until this segment.
Well, I mean,
but
in this book, they're like, hey, they turned on us, right? They sold us out to the world, and they sold us out to the worm, right? Like we did the right thing, right? Just kind of like chuckling to themselves nervously in this passage here.
Yeah, and they tried to make good with the girl in the past, and the girl they made good with all died, and are having to try all over again.
Yeah, it's a damn shame.
So,
but
in case you ever want to have the girl snuggle time in your game, the Fianna are the tribe to do it with.
Yep. But then, eventually they'll probably see them and it's like, oh my god, they're still alive. Holy shit. We're so fucking sorry.
Yeah.
we killed so many of your fucking kinfolk. I feel fucking terrible.
Man. I was in a bad place when I did it, man. Sorry.
Basically, yeah. And so, the Macaulay. They haven't met any. They're out there, sure, but like where? The Amazon, I guess.
And a dropped first edition plot point. The Fianna have superstitious beliefs towards the Macaulay because a lot of Fomorians were scaly back in that time. They look over the Macaulay and say, "It looks like the worm. Are you worm? You must be worm." And they refuse to work with the Macaulay because of it.
Sounds about right.
Also, they spell their name wrong. They spell it Maloke.
Oh, really?
There's a typo in the book.
Oh. I don't know. Maloke would have been a cool name as well.
The Maloke.
Yes. The Naga. You're kidding, right? Is this some St. Patrick's driving the snakes from Ireland joke? Nah, get out of here.
Snake people or Sneeple, as you will.
Where gerbils, where frogs, where snakes, no fucking way.
Nope.
And the Noesha. Oh, fuck the Noesha. Why did
the
they...
Looney Tune.
The book, as revised edition recounts, why on earth did the mother create an entire race of Ragabash? Why did we need this? All they do is, they tell jokes that don't make any fucking sense. I mean, the only thing they're good... however, they do like a laugh and a drink and a dance, but... Oh my god, they're annoying.
They're looking at the Noesha. There was this episode of Johnny Bravo, I remember, where it's like Johnny Bravo is like stuck in the desert and he's got this obnoxious camel who's just making jokes and sarcastic quips, following him around the entire episode.
That's funny.
And that's the whole shit between the two of them.
I remember seeing this.
I'm slowly dying of thirst in the desert. Can you please stop singing the water song?
I don't know. Whenever I bring up Johnny Bravo, I just remember that black dude that wears like the blonde wig and the glasses, and he's just carrying around the mirrors like, "I'm too pretty to be late." And he walks over to some girls like, "How you doing, ladies?"
Yes, that man would get so much pussy in real life.
No, that was an actual video. That's what it's just this jacked black dude with blonde hair.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh man,
I'm saying if Johnny Bravo is real.
I mean, you probably would. Hey, how you doing, ladies?
Yes, that's how we saw it, Kyle. We got to start dressed like Elvis.
I honestly would love to see like Johnny Bravo and Duke Nukem just hanging out together, talking about babes. I think I saw there's a picture of like an old costume party where there's like one dude dressed up as Albert Wesker, one dude dressed up as Johnny Bravo, and one dude dressed up as Duke Nukem. They're all pointing at each other.
Blonde men in sunglasses.
All the blonde hair and sunglasses. Okay. The Ratkin. Dirty little fuckers. The bastard breeds in sewers faster than rabbits and Viagra. There's no counting how many there are down there. Oh my God, usually you wouldn't have a problem with them, but all they do is kill people. They don't... And, when the random slaughter of kinfolk is concerned, I tend to lose my sense of humor.
Well, unfortunately for the Fianna, they were in direct line of fire for the Ratkin rug pool.
Yeah, sadly. Only because they're really close with the Bonars.
Well, maybe if you make really good with the Bonars, you might be spared.
Some Fianna have.
Where are you going to be during the random Ratkin event?
I'm probably going to be at a bar having a drink.
Yes. The random Ratkin event is going to happen in your area.
Yes. Rokea. Around about the same place that you can find the Nuisha under the cure for blindness.
Yes. When was the last time they spoke to a shark?
I don't know, but it'd be cool if they did.
Maybe Australia. Maybe that'll happen in Australia.
If anything, yeah. There are sharks in Australia.
Everywhere in Australia.
Yes.
Australia's just a small death world compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah. I would like to go to Australia. It sounds interesting.
The vampires.
No sex, no drinking, no food. What the fuck do you even do all night? But, if you see one, it's full of worm taint, just tear them to ribbons.
Yeah, same approach in first edition. They say the minute you come across a vampire, kill it.
Yep.
Just don't listen to a thing they have to say because they mind control you. Just immediately go for the throat.
Yep, basically. Easy peasy. Mages. They're a hospitable bunch, and they even let the Fae they trust within the bond of Cairns. But never under any circumstances let a wizard anywhere near a fucking cairn. Their self-centered and magic-obsessed worldview, fucking just ridiculous jerks. And they think that Mother Gaia's bounty is something they can just take whenever they want. They abuse hospitality. They're just pains in the ass to deal with. Of course, you had the old mortal druids centuries ago, but, they were all fine. They didn't really bother them all that much. And, but, the theurges nowadays have nothing to do with all of these weird New Age Wiccans that are hanging around.
And in first edition, they say, in a plot point that once again got dropped, or rather before the Verbena got completely derailed by feminist bullshit, that the Fianna were in open conversation with the Verbena.
It's like, hey, you practice like the old pagan ways. We did that too. And they were like, fuck off, pig. And we're like, oh, fine, fuck you.
That they had a full working relationship with the Verbena. And even though they did human sacrifice, even though they used the semen of a man they captured and beat to death for their spells, they still liked them. And they also say they don't bring them up by name, but they say Mages of the Weaver, aka the Technocratic Union, do not do anything with them. Immediately get away from them when you see them.
Yes.
Also get away from Nafandi the minute you see it. There's also one other mage they list off by name, the Marauders, where they would be very interesting, but because they're insane, we can't do anything with them.
Yep. They do all kinds of cool magic, but keep them as far away from your cairn as humanly possible.
Behold, you're now floating in the scrambled egg dimension.
Oh, no, not the egg dimension. Oh, wait, I love eggs. I would love some eggs.
How'd you get in here? How do you get out of here? You don't know.
I don't know, but I'm going to eat as long as there's eggs here. Anyhow, wraiths. Never really done a whole lot with wraiths. If you can't see your time is gone, then it is what it is. Life is a great thing to hold dear, and you got to just face whatever Gaia has lined up for you next. Although some of them have started crawling out of their graves again. Just put them back where they came from and let them learn their lesson.
In first edition, seeing a wraith is a bad omen. Get the fuck out of wherever you are the minute you see a wraith.
Yep, sounds about right.
They say whenever you see a ghost, someone else in that room is about to die. Do not let be you. Jump out the window if you have to.
Yep. Hunters. They're worried that the hunters appearing is a sign that the end is near and that the Inquisition is coming back.
It is a sign the end is near.
Yes, it is. God's literally going, you kill them. And they don't
randomly assigned.
usually smell of the worm. None of them, to their knowledge, has been, seen as kin, but they wield some weird gifts that are just as strong as Garou gifts. The thing that troubles them is they only turn up when they attack humans that have been tainted by the worm or when they're mingling with human society. Given their relationship with kin, they've had their fair share of dealings with them, but it's been pretty terrifying to worry about.
And they don't say anything about hunters in first edition because they weren't a thing yet.
And now they are.
And then fairies.
Yes, they have a lot to say about fairies for obvious reasons. They've had a long history with the fairies, though they aren't what they used to be. They can't really exist on their own anymore. They have to find a body to live in. And, the problem is that their body seems to shape what they are. They seem more like human than fae nowadays. Sometimes they, as the book recounts, sometimes spending time with them is like seeing a horrible parody of their own lives. They laugh and dance and sing, but, their own apocalypse is close at hand. And, of course, they go over the seelie and the unseelie. It's not as bad. It's not as easy as good and bad. More like light and dark or selfish, selfless. And even that's a bit of a stretch. Though the legends say that they used to rule half the year each year and cooperate with each other, but it seems they've sort of lost that unity. Granted, they're still always up to their old tricks. They cast a little bit of glamour over them, lead them into the Fey world, and do whatever they kind of want to with them. And, those that do come back after dealing with the Fae, well, there's a lot of old tales of doomed romances and flightly lovers between them and Fianna. A lot of them sink into Hirano after being around Fae for too long. They're incredibly unpredictable. They'll either be swearing undying oaths of loyalty, or they barely recognize you. It's a toss-up.
In first edition, they say just the minute you find a changeling, scoop them up and run off with them. Just list off the promise. You owe him. He owes you. That guy is now your ally no matter what. You help him out. He will help you out. And keep him alive. If he is dying from banality, do everything you can to get him into a place more interesting.
Yes.
Like the Umbra. And at the minute you come across the Unseelie Court, that is an automatic enemy. Do not even try to contact the Unseelie Court.
Tear their head off.
It's going to be very hard considering all the bells and whistles and other tricks that Unseelie Court plays with.
Yeah, basically.
Yes. And that's the relationships section.
Yes, quite a lot to go over because the Fianna are very social creatures, which is, again, another reason I like them so much.
Let's go over totems, and I really want to go over Lion first. Now, before it was added to the Red Talons book, the Fianna adopted Lion.
Yes.
I don't know what Griffin said to Lion to get him on his side.
Yeah, because the Lion was originally a White Howler totem. And I guess
it would have made sense for the Fianna to adopt him.
Yes.
And then as for how that ended up in the hands of the Red Talons, I don't really know. You have to explain it to me in the comments because it just doesn't make sense to me.
What's interesting is that Lion isn't actually mentioned as an official totem in a revised edition.
No, he's in first edition. This is a drop plot point.
Yeah.
And it got changed into being a Red Talon plot point instead. Even though the Red Talons never had anything to do with the White Howlers.
I guess Lion just like the cut of their jib.
As for his stats in first edition, Lion's packs gain 3 points of honor and 3 animal kin. They also receive -1 to all of their difficulties when impressing elders. The ban is that Children of Lion must protect helpless animals from danger.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
The more like environment kind of shit.
Yeah, a little Captain Planet totem.
Captain Lion.
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's pull up and revise because that's all I really wanted to say out of first edition.
Yep. Surprisingly, don't see Stag here.
Me and Judge are also noticing that there was like a small drop in quality between first edition and revised edition, but the artwork in Fianna revised is really good.
It is actually really. I was noting that the whole time. I'm like, damn, a lot of this looks fucking awesome.
You like the picture of the cross-formed werewolf at the family dinner getting pissed off and smashing the table?
Yeah, and everybody's just sitting around there just staring at him. That's really funny.
That's just what he does. This is what Bob does.
Yep. Oh, you're calm
it...
down and drink your fucking beer and be happy.
Shall we bring up Morgan, the Phantom Queen?
Yes, which is great because I actually had the hounds have Morgan as their totem because, their pack theurge, Ned, is Fianna. So, of course, he picked Morgan, given the fact that two of his pack mates are Get Ephemeris.
Yes.
Morgan has a background cost of 8. She is the Mistress of Battles, an ancient war totem to the Celts. Her symbol was the carrion crow. While she hardly ever fought, she was a frequent participant in the battles. She always urged heroes towards victory. Few packs petition her for patronage, however, because Morgu is a very, very harsh mistress. Those who fail or refuse a request find themselves a victim of horrible vengeance. So, there are a couple of different parts of this. There's, she has...
According to Irish mythology, she had 3 different faces and 3 different personalities.
Yes.
And you get little bonuses depending on which one she's in at the moment.
There's Macha, which is the personification of war. There's Bobt, which is fury, and Naaman, which is venom. Each of which has a different part to her. You have Macha, who is the personification of battle. She incites warriors to heroic, if occasionally suicidal, deeds. At which point the trait is each pack member gains the Arun Gift Inspiration. The pack gains the Arun Gift, Stoking Fury's Furnace, which can be used by any one pack member at any time. Members of her pack also gain a point of temporary glory. And then you have Bobt, which is Fury.
Mm-hmm.
Bobt represents Fury Unleashed. She is the harbinger of battle madness. The trait you get, the pack gains the gift Song of Rage, which is a 3rd level Galliard gift. And each pack member receives the ability to enter Berserk Frenzy at will. Members of her pack gain a temporary point of glory, but lose 2 temporary points of wisdom when first taking this totem. And then you have Naaman, or Venom. She poisons with fear and cripples by sowing confusion and chaos in the battlefield. Each pack member gains a point of subterfuge. Packs also receive the gift Fog of War. Naaman's pack lose a temporary point of honor when first taking this totem. The general trait, however, if that wasn't enough, all of Morga's children receive a bonus of -1 difficulty to social rolls dealing with Korax and Raven spirits, as she is the Carrion Queen as her avatar.
Mm-hmm.
The ban, however, is no child of the Morgu may ever harm a Raven, and all must always show respect for and give aid to the Korax. They must never show fear, even in the face of certain death, which actually makes a lot of sense since one of their friends or the Hounds, rather, one of the Hound's best friends was, poor narrator, the Korax private investigator.
Something to know about Morgan, by the way, according to both First Edition lore and a little bit of Changing and Dreaming, Morgan was a Fae spirit. She was a Fae before she died, and then refused to reincarnate. She looked over at the Fianna and said, "Make me your totem spirit," and so they did.
Yep, they said, "I am," and so it was.
She's one of the many spirits of that stick around the Fianna that used to be a human or some sort of Fae, but then never reincarnated.
Yes.
And because she's actually striking it bigger and better as a spirit than she was alive.
Yep, sort of like what happened to Jupiter in Chicago Ragecross Chicago.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it, under
yes.
a Blood Road moon.
And then you have Hearn the Hunter. We've been over Hearn a couple of times in this episode, but his general stats as background cost of 4, and the traits are he grants his pack an extra point of stealth and survival, and the gift Sense Worm. Pretty useful. The ban, however, Hearn's packs must always pursue and do battle with the minions of the worm, regardless of the odds. So you're going to have to be crafty if you take Hearn as your totem.
This is one that's made for Ragabashes.
Ragabash or Arun who can just run into a brick wall and survive.
This is a mouthful of Danu, the mother of all Fae, according to lore.
Yes.
You can take her as a totem. She grants her children the powerful... she's background cost 8, by the way. She grants the children the powerful sense to sense Fae and other supernatural shenanigans. Each pack member gains the gift Sense the Unnatural. Her packs gain the ability to entrance listeners through performing telltale singing or howling. Manipulation performance difficulty 8. The actual effects are up to the storyteller. In addition, the packs gain 3 additional dots of the ancestors' background, which is really good.
Yes.
This is not an actual affinity with your ancestors, but the ability to learn ancient knowledge and lore by accessing primordial memories. AKA the Macaulay Nesis and AKA the Ratkin blood memory is what you have access to, basically. All Fianna with most fairies will recognize and honor the children of Danu. The ban is that Danu will ask all of her children to hold a moot in her honor during each of the full 4 seasons, telling tales old and new, which means you just gotta plan 4 different parties throughout the week, which is not the year, which is not that bad.
Yeah, basically you just have to have like a book of. I feel like this is, if anything, I feel like your character Podrick would take Danu as his totem.
Yeah, if he could afford it.
Oh, he would need a pack to get on board with that, but you know.
He's probably going to have to go with the Brokey totem, which is Cockerel.
Either that or Bridget.
Cockerel's a whole whopping 3 points. Cockerel gives all of his children's gifts since worm, but you're forbidden from eating domesticated animals.
Oh, that sucks.
But behold, you must be a vegetarian or vegan.
Yeah, that really fucking sucks. Or you just hunt. You just eat veal and fish.
Yeah, you gotta find the really obscure animals to go eat. You gotta go all the way down in South America and look for food there.
I mean, yeah, it could work.
Would you like to eat a Komodo dragon?
Honestly, I would be intrigued to see what a Komodo dragon tastes like.
Yeah.
I lived in Florida for half a year and I never ate alligator. I'm still mad at myself about that.
No, it's like state law to kill those things in Florida.
In all honesty, I heard that it's actually really good. It's like a slightly fattier chicken.
Yeah. You gotta go ahead and roast it on a Spitfire too.
Yep, I've seen Ralph the Baker like slow smoke a fucking alligator, and it looked fucking delicious.
Did you want to do Brigid?
Yes.
She is the Celtic goddess of fire, healing, and poetry.
Quite nice. Yes. So Brigid, background cost of 5. As we said, spirit of inspiration and creativity. Traits. Packs of Brigid gain 2 extra dice to rolls involving crafts or creative inspiration. When attempting to create fetishes, Rite Masters enjoy a bonus of -1 difficulty to bind spirits into crafted items by Brigid's children. The ban, however, her packs must never fail to celebrate Imbolc, displaying a new work of art, song, or craft. Basically, it makes another holiday mandatory, and you always have to show off your work.
Specifically leaning towards Galliards with this one.
Yes, indeed.
And then we have one more with Opponent, the White Horse Goddess.
We're not going to talk about Merlin?
Well, if you really want to talk about Merlin, we can. But
I don't know. I liked him because it's the King Arthur mythos.
He's not the wizard. He's the bird.
Ah, it makes me sad. Okay, yeah, talk about Epona.
Epona is a horse goddess. Now, whether or not she is a woman or a horse, I don't really know.
A horse woman.
Could be either one. Horses are at ease around the followers of Epona, which is a very good thing if you know how fucking batshit crazy horses can get.
Yes, very much so.
Who don't suffer the usual Garou's +2 penalty to animal kin or riot for horses. Each of her children may also cross the gauntlet at -1 difficulty. Holy fuck.
That's pretty fucking sick.
Packs gain 3 dice to add to running dice pools, and a die of stamina for purposes of long distance running.
What the fuck? Good.
Yeah, that's pretty good for background cost 4.
Yeah, for a cost of 4, that's awesome.
It's kind of niche, but that's still good. That's still a lot of stuff you get.
Yeah.
The ban is that the true children of Epona must not eat horse flesh, nor allow cruelty to any equine. When was the last time you ate a horse?
I have not ever. I heard it's very tough because they're very burly animals.
Yeah, you have the whole expression, I'm so hungry I can eat a horse, but when do you do that?
And Epona looks at you like, what did you mean by that? Do you think if you take Epona as your totem, then the Black Furies would like you more? Because unicorn is their totem?
You're close, but no cigar. It's got to have wings on it.
What if I duct tape some wings to Epona? I bet then.
So you pull a massive scheme and get Merlin and Cockerel on his back.
That would actually be really funny. Just like,
hey, look, it's Pegasus.
It's a Pegasus. Everybody that. Probably getting good with the children of Fianna because they have unicorn.
Yeah, you bullshitter.
Hey, look, say what you want, but he can't fly.
He can fly, he can talk.
It's a flying talking donkey.
See, we got Merlin, who is not the wizard.
That makes me sad.
Each pack member gains an additional dot of alertness and 1 dot of temporary wisdom renown. Packs of Merlin gain 1 extra point of occult, rituals, enigmas, and primal urge. The advantage is that Merlin commands her packs to never destroy knowledge.
Also pretty solid for a background cross to 6.
If you're going for a whole Songkeepers party.
Yes. Or if you have like a lot of Actena in your party, then this would be pretty solid.
And then behold as you accidentally read the Tremere text that ends the world upon you reading it.
Yeah, God help you. Well, technically we didn't destroy it. We put it in a hermetically sealed box and buried it 20 feet under the ground.
You gotta pull a whole Brotherhood of Steel. You can have access to that knowledge, but nobody else can.
Basically.
And then you got a few things in here too with merits and flaws. Where you got Second Sight, where you've got clairvoyance and precognition powers as a Fianna. Fucking awesome.
Pretty sick.
And it gets stronger the more points you put into it, up to a limit of 6. And then you have a unique flaw called Gish.
I actually had one.
Yeah, that's you, which means you have what you have to do is that you have to spit blood into any sort of alcohol drink you drank.
Yes.
Your Gish.
And I would constantly have to flavor text it, like Tyler bites his lip and puts some on the lid of the beer before having a drink.
Yeah. And with this, it's a curse that's up in severity. It's either level 1 or level 7. And if you break it, your rolls will go to shit.
Oh, yeah.
Or
absolutely.
some other similar bad thing will happen to you.
I think I lost so many dice just because one time I'd forget to put blood in a drink. And then it was like, oh, you have -2 dice for the rest of the scene. I was
leaning forward in my seat when you were doing that.
I was like, wait, I bit my lip. I said so.
Here. Shall we go to Wormfell and pull up some gifts?
I believe we should.
I'm also looking at a Merlin bird. It comes in 2 different colors.
Does it really?
It comes in blue and it comes in gray.
All right, that's not the right one. This is the right one. Okay.
Let's see here.
Wormfell.
Gifts. That's not the page. It's not it. Okay. Let's see. Wormfell.
They organize this page like shit.
All right. Let's do one gift per rank. Probably not rank 6 because when are you ever going to do that?
I don't know. Have you got some fucking crazy fucking thing, I guess?
Crazy ass game that goes on for that long.
Yes. Let's see. Yeah, they organize this page like shit. It's kind of all over the place.
Do you want to do 2 tongues where you carry 2 conversations at the same time? Do you want to do Leap of the Kangaroo, Fairy Light, Resist Toxin?
I mean, Resist Toxin's kind of a gimme. So that and it's you know what? Yeah, Resist Toxin. Just because we're talking about the Fianna here. So Resist Toxin is a rank 1, a Fianna gift, rank 1 Bonar gift, and a rank 1 Bunyip gift, of all things. Many Bonars and Fianna, for that matter, learn a preternatural resistance to poisons and toxins of all kind. Doubtless due to their diet of refuse and American beer, at least in the case of the Bonars. A trash spirit teaches this gift. The player rolls stamina and survival. Success nullifies the effect of most conventional poisons and adds 3 dice to the Garou's stamina for purposes of resisting worm-enhanced poisons. The effects last for the entire scene.
Now, granted, you're going to run into those a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you're deep in worm territory, then you're going to have to deal with that.
Shit like Head of the Worm is very common.
Yes. Brew is another gimme that I kind of want to do. I took Serdwin's Blood, but I didn't wind up using it all that much.
Not very much. And then you notice that there's a lot of these that are based on conversation. It's the talky wolf is the Fianna's whole shtick.
Yes, very much.
Because Glabatung is one that I have as well, and that makes you just better at conversation.
So let's go with something that I actually thought, this one is actually kind of busted for a second. If you're really on the struggle bus with combat, take Fair Fortune, otherwise known as Luck of the Irish. A fan with this gift has a streak of luck a mile wide. They're dealt a great hand that plays extra clumsy, or the wind shifts in just the right time to scent an ambush. A fairy or fortune spirit teaches this gift. System. With the expenditure of 1 Gnosis point, the player may re-roll any failed or botched roll. The decision must be made immediately after the failed or botched roll. It is usable once per scene. So if you know that you're like on, if you're like in deep and you're about to sneak up on somebody, or you're in the middle of combat,
blown through all your willpower,
burn a Gnosis, re-roll it.
It'll come more in handy than you think it will.
Absolutely.
Or maybe it'll just botch and you'll get -3 dice to get 3 points of rage.
Yeah, either way, but that's not gonna get any that's not gonna help you all that much, is it?
We had a funny moment in the girl game where Jojo got a point of rage because he couldn't remember what an optometrist was called.
Oh. That's funny. I love when you get rage for the dumbest of fucking reasons. It's my favorite.
It's a Colossus Doctor. What's it called? I can't think of what it's called.
Yes. Let's see here. Do I want to do ley lines?
Rank 3. We got crazy shit. Fairykin.
Fairykin. All right. Let me see where that one is. Hang on
It's rank 3.
Yep, there it is. Okay, Fairykin. A Fianna can call upon ancient pacts between their people in the Fae. By emitting a special howl, the Garou can call whatever Fae are in the area to help. They will obey the Fianna, but not without question. A dream spirit teaches this gift, and teaching normally involves a quest of some kind. So if you want to send your player on some sort of, side quest to get this cool gift, then you can sort of squish that into the campaign.
Behold, with only a single Gnosis roll, and you roll Manipulation and Occult difficulty 8, each point Gnosis you spend will decide how many fairies answer, and now you too can summon the Slua, the little goth Tim Burton people, that will shoot you with the blow dart and then drag you back to their little Slua home and cook you for stew.
Or if you're in a really bad fight and you need some muscle, you roll for a couple of red caps, and they go, blood, yeah, baby, and then they kill everything.
Or you call in the Knockers with their super crazy high-tech chainsaw.
The chainsword from Warhammer 40k.
Exactly.
Are you fucking looking at it? It's a fucking sword with a fucking chain blade going through it at the speed of fuck you, there's your arm.
Or even the strongest of all, you call in the Autumnal She, who comes in and utters the holy phrase, Ligma Balls.
It's so sad that Lord Cunningham died of Ligma. Who the hell is Lord Cunningham? Ligma Balls.
And behold, once you use Sovereign, Kyle, you have the power to just end a combat encounter.
Yes.
At any point.
Only thing is that, this gift may summon a chimera, but it will call true Fae only in strange umbral reaches. But even then, very rarely.
And then the problem will solve itself because nobody can see the chimera, nobody can interact with the chimera, and it'll just do its damage and leave.
Yep. The only problem is if you botch the roll, it'll summon a shadow court fairy.
Speaking of doing your damage and leaving.
Yes.
See, there he is again.
What happened?
There he is. We dragged him in.
Oh, you fucking violated me! You keep...
God damn it. Why do you keep doing that to JoJo?
Once I found out I could do that.
Now it's just our way to troll people during episodes. Nope, you're just here.
Kyle, for rank 4, I know we have a very good selection for rank 4, but you've got to read what Warp Spasm does.
Okay, let me go ahead and... Yep, Warp Spasm. Okay, there's a rank 4 Fianna gift. Many tales of the Kochlen state he would glow in combat, radiating a great heat. At the end of a battle, women would dump water over his body to cool him down. This gift causes the user to radiate a tremendous heat, igniting nearby flammable items and melting metal. The aura only works while the Fianna is in Berserk Frenzy. At the end of the frenzy, the Fianna cools off. This gift is taught by Fianna ancestor spirits. System. The Garou spends 1 point of rage to activate the gift, after which they will automatically go into a Berserk Frenzy. All flammable material they touch bursts into flames. Their hand-to-hand attacks do 2 aggravated wounds of damage in addition to all the regular attack damage.
In addition to the regular damage.
It's rare that you're going to get to rank 4 in a werewolf game, but if you're in, say, like Rage Across the Amazon and you've got some fucking specced out Fianna, take Warp Spasm and just walk into a fucking Pentex warehouse and burn it to the ground.
If you combine this with Master of Fire, I don't think this fire hurts you, but if you combine it with Master of Fire,
oh yeah,
then you've got nothing to lose by that point. And keep in mind, any vampire you fight will go into Rot Shark upon seeing you.
Oh yeah, this is your vampire killer right here's Warp Spasm.
Absolutely, this is your super. You go full blown Super Saiyan with the Fianna.
It is, and it's kind of awesome. Again, I you know me as a proverbial Fianna simp. I love the Fianna. They're so cool. I love them. Have
I told you the story of Ku Colin before, by the way?
Well, no, I don't believe you have, actually.
So Ku Colin is the guy who inspired the Hulk, by the way.
Oh, really?
Where the whole thing with Ku Colin is that he would go into this berserk super form where he would just Hulk out, get super muscular and monstrous by design, and then you just got away from him. And then what he would do is that he would just go into battles and just be invincible and would just wipe the floor with everybody he came across. I don't think we can show any of the images on screen because I know they're all copyright written. But Kyle, if you ever check out the comic book Slain in your spare time,
right,
that shows you what the Warp Spasm looked like, and it was gnarly.
God, I fucking love the Fianna. Yeah. For rank 5, I'm kind of stuck on what to do about this. I know there's one in particular that I really want to do because it's a long one, but I want to talk about it.
Let's go over it.
Yep, fuck it, I'm doing it. Give me a half second to mosey on over there. We're talking about Havgen's Healing.
All right, let's do it.
So, rank 5 Fianna gift, named after the foe Pill dueled within the overworld. This powerful gift lets wounds alternately harm and heal Garou, giving the Fianna a critical edge in sustained battle. A death spirit teaches this gift. To activate this gift, the Fianna must spend 2 Gnosis points and concentrate for 1 turn. For the duration of the scene, any health levels that are not soaked alternately harm or heal the Garou. The first blow to strike the Garou injures him as normal. With the second blow, any damage that is not soaked, and the player must roll soak as normal, instead is treated as healing. Bashing wounds heal bashing damage. Lethal wounds can heal bashing or lethal damage. Aggravated wounds heal all forms of damage. The third blow injures, the fourth heals, and so on. Wounds suffered from silver can never heal, however, they inflict damage as normal, and, quote-unquote, use up that blow, for instance. A Fianna wounded by silver by the 4th blow after activating this gift takes unsoakable aggravated damage as normal, and the 5th blow will injure, not heal. However, any aggravated damage taken on the 6th blow and every other attack that could heal the silver damage. Any wounds left unhealed by the end of the scene must be healed as usual. Basically, you get to flip a coin as whether or not you are damage or heal. So and
you can also exploit this because between turns you can just punch yourself in the face and reset the timer.
Basically, yeah. It's like, okay, my turn. I'm going to punch myself in the face. I deal myself 2 bashing damage. The next, they shoot me with a shotgun. I heal for 10 hit points. Fuck
if you have a smart party that coordinates this, you can exploit this in your favor.
This would be a good end game thing to have, where it's like, you're on your deathbed. A Galliard goes, "I see the good you're putting in. In dire times of this, we need warriors of Gaia. I hereby proclaim you rank 5 hero of the Garou," and then you get the fucking Havgen's Healing gift.
As for rights, I'll just quickly blow through these with you because they don't have any rights that are. They have no rank 4 rights, by the way.
Really?
That's just something they don't have. The first one is Rite of Boasting. For every 2 successes on a charisma and rituals roll, the boast earns them potential extra glory, temporary glory. Up to the amount of glory of feat would honor. If this rite is performed properly and the hero successfully achieves his goal, he gains a glory bonus. If he fails and lives, he loses that amount. It gets you extra stuff as well. Just like uses that your moods in order to like get more shit in your favor and game the system.
Yep.
At almost all of your rank 2 gifts are the seasonal rites, by the way. As in the rite that you perform when the holiday season comes around, and then way. That's we really need to go into detail with it.
Yes.
Level 3, Foeman's Vigil. At the end of the rite, what you do is you get a severed head, and then you put on a stake. Is what you do.
Cool.
You then take that head on the stake, you plant it somewhere, and then what you do is take a look at this. What is the roll we're making here? Does it not say?
It actually doesn't. I don't think. I think you.
No, it's automatic. It just goes off according to how many dots you have in ritual.
Oh, cool.
So what this head does, by the way, is that if you have anything that you deem as an enemy walk by the head within a 20-yard radius, the head will scream.
It's kind of fucking scary, in all honesty.
It's an alarm system. And so in case you're wondering why when you go into a Fianna cairn and there's severed heads on sticks everywhere, that's why.
Yep.
In fact, it's I forgot to mention this before, it's a ritual, a superstitious ritual that the Fianna will do that they've noticed in ancient history. Sometimes when you kill a Fomori, it gets right back up. How you stop that from happening is you saw the head off.
Well, that makes sense.
Which is what Fianna do. They will usually carry blades or serrated edges, and they will cut off the heads of their enemies at the end of fights.
Cut off the head, destroy the brain.
And just make sure they don't come back. And then level 5 is the Rite of Hero Sleep, which is basically a time capsule. The Rite Master spends 3 points of permanent gnosis when performing the ritual. If she succeeds, a guy who dies in battle has their wounds healed, and then you just drop the guy off in a hole, and instead of being dead, he just goes to sleep. And then he wakes up and you uncover the grave.
That's
amazing.
So there's like a bunch of fucking Fianna just lying dormant everywhere. And when Gehenna happens, they're all just going to kick the grave open, pull themselves out of the dirt like a gangrel after day rest.
Yeah,
and pick up a sword to go fight the worm.
Instead of like the Gefemmer's spirit phone with the end of the R, where they bring all the spirits back to life and they all manifest and incarnize. With the Fianna, you just put them in this hole and then wait for the end times to come around and then you dig them back up.
Yeah, pretty neat, right?
Yeah. And so there you go. You're going to have all the zombie Fianna fighting in favor.
That would honestly be so fucking cool. I can't even stress it.
It is. And where are these guys during the tribe fall scenario when the black stags were killing them?
They were probably still sleeping because nobody was there to complete the rite.
The whole bit from Glory, I buried the dead bodies, but who's going to bury me?
Yeah, either that or like the black stag when they, when they come back. It turns into that scene from Army of Darkness. Welcome back to the land of the living. Grab a shovel and get to work.
With all the CGI skeletons coming to fight you.
I fucking love Army of Darkness. It is one of my favorite movies.
It's a funny movie.
I love Army of Darkness.
Badass. And you're good ass.
Good little two shoes, good little two shoes.
And I'll just shut up an annoying asshole, just put a gun in his face.
Yep. Good, bad, I'm the guy with the gun.
And all that good.
What's really funny is that like we had an Evil Dead movie night for Halloween last year, and in my Strahd game that I play IRL, I'm playing Marcus, who you remember, Johnny, and he's a lot more Ash versus the Evil Dead in Strahd because he's a fighter gunslinger, and he's got a point in in Artificer as well. So I'm going around with like a handgun and a shotgun. The only thing I don't have is a chainsaw. But like I was sitting there watching that, and all of my friends who were there playing with it, they all look at me like, "Is this where Marcus came from?" I'm like, "Yeah, kinda."
Yeah.
And my DM was like, my sister DMs the game. He's like, "I need you to like flick your blunderbuss closed and just say groovy." And I'm like, "I'm going to now."
Have you ever seen the remake, by the way?
It's not good. That was one of the
You
movies
didn't
we
like
ended
it.
the night. Wait, it was just like it was just a very classic desaturated 2010s horror movie of like, here's a bunch of dumbass college kids in a house in the woods and now there's monsters. It was really dumb.
It starts off very slow, but it picks up as it goes along.
The ending was pretty solid, but like every other story beat was such like, oh, dumb kids don't know how to survive. And it gave me Until Dawn vibes, and I hate David Cage, so.
Which is why, well, no, it wasn't even David Cage, it was Supermassive.
Oh, Supermassive made Until Dawn?
Yeah, it's that Until Dawn sucked, and then they took it super seriously, and because a bunch of people started saying this game sucks, then the other two games they released for Dark Pictures were intentionally tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
They said, you can't criticize me now because it's ironic. It's ironic. You can't criticize me now.
I'm going to be honest, that's just cope.
That's all it is. Until Dawn fucking sucks, and there's no change in my mind.
Yeah, I hate David Cage games in general, but that's just me.
But the Fianna, this is, like I said before, there's, I think, only one World of Darkness game I've run where the Fianna were not used.
Which one was that?
I think it was the Red Cross Egypt game.
That makes sense. Not a whole lot there.
And technically the girl game too, because this is a post-apocalypse game. But going off of a lot, for context for you, Kyle, the girl game is going off of having Last Battle be canon.
Oh, really?
So that's why.
The one where the worm erupts out of
There was a giant fight in the ethereal realm, and majority of the Garou Nation died in the fight. But so did the force of the worm, and the Defiler worm was banished at the end.
So there's just like a bunch of rogue worms just kind of wandering around, and the girl all trying to bring it back.
Well, it's more like it's the fairer breed's time to rise up, is what the game is.
That makes sense, yeah.
But besides that, so in all but 2 games I've run of World of Darkness, I've used the Fianna. And that's because the Fianna are the most versatile tribe. And as a guy who really values his family, like my mom said, a family is the reason why I'm here.
Yep.
And for me, the Fianna are a tribe that do resonate with me and that I do see a lot of. That I feel like it's not necessarily fair to the Fianna that they get written off as just the Irish tribe, but no, it's the family tribe.
Yes.
The whole deal here.
They put the nation in Garou Nation is what they do.
Because yeah, I've slowly started liking these guys more and more to the point where, unless inspiration strikes me when we eventually, like in 2027, get around doing Rage Across San Francisco, Fianna is what I'm going with.
I am excited for that because, you've been telling me about the character Patrick that you've been making, and he just seems like a nice guy. And that's the thing. It's like, yeah, the Garou, as we described many times in the past, are not good people on average. But if you're going to have an amicable werewolf, it's either going to be a Bone Gnawer, a Child of Gaia, or a Fianna.
And in some cases, a Stargazer too.
Yes. A rare case, but even still, from the time I learned about the Fianna, I loved the Fianna, and I still love the Fianna to this day.
These guys jumped out at you for a reason.
Yep, this was my tribe. It's who I resonate with. Despite my fucking, weaverish day job, when it comes to turning into a 10-foot tall fluffy killing machine, I want to be a Fianna.
And you don't have to worry about W5 anymore because the IP is dead now that with the release of Bloodlines 2.
Yep.
And nobody's touching 5th edition.
Thank fucking God at good fucking riddance.
I've only, I showed you the posting. I've only found one posting for W5 on Roll20, and it was a guy. The guy's profile picture was him in his fursuit.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
And I immediately knew what that game was.
6.
Just the whole thing. So yeah, we're eventually getting like a small turnaround with Wrath of the Apocalypse.
Yep.
Especially now that I was informed by JoJo that we're now consistently getting more views on our videos than Outstar.
It's always a fucking competition, isn't it?
It is. Like, these are our streets now, dude.
Have faith in yourself and everything.
Yeah, and if Lore by Night finally got another video that cracked 1,000 views, but we're actually neck and neck with Lore by Night now.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah. This is what I mean. It's like, once I told you, dog, sometimes the best gift you can receive is the gift you gave yourself.
And here it is. We're still here. We're still kicking. And look at
We're
that. We're
doing
doing content from however long ago we started this, because this was a revise of the second ever video we did.
Yeah, we started this project in June 2023.
Indeed. And it's now 2026. We've been at it for almost 3 years now.
Exactly. We're getting close to being leaders of the pack with this now.
Fucking crazy. Anyway, play the Fianna. They're cool.
Tune in next week when we go over the Sombra again for real this time.
Yes, without Johnny wearing a plague doctor's mask in the dark.
That was a fun video to do, but we could have had more information.
But we did actually talk a whole lot about what they do, so we'll fix that next Sunday.
I had fun doing that video all the same.
That was fun.
And also the Sombra is also pretty daunting because there's a lot with the Sombra.
Yep, that's gonna be a long one.
Holy fuck!
All right, good night, everybody.
GN, everyone.